Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Charlton Select Board meeting. We're going to call the meeting to order. Today is September 9th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. We're at the Town Hall Meeting Room 1. And just for notice that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by Charlton Cable Access TV on Spectrum TV Channel 191, and recording is available on the YouTube channel for Charlton TV. Any member of the public who wishes to record a meeting must first notify the chair. Anyone recording the meeting out there? Okay. All right, next item would be to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next would be announcements. Steve?
Yeah. So announcements, Monday, September 15th at 10:30 a.m., Melissa Long, St. Vincent's Medical Group nurse practitioner, will be at the Charlton Senior Center to present on a variety of urological conditions. The Charlton Senior Center would like to thank everyone on the Old Home Day Committee for all of their efforts for another successful event. Congratulations to Ruth Duhamel, the Boston Post cane holder, on her recent 100th birthday.
Sure. Not many this morning, or this afternoon. The next item would be open forum. If there's anyone here that would like to speak, now is the time. Okay, seeing no one come forward.
To speak, right?
To speak on, yes, this is the open forum, so the public's welcome to come down. On anything not on the agenda tonight. What the reason being is you can have that opportunity later on.
Oh.
Okay? Are we good? All right. Thank you, sorry about that. Got to stretch your legs, all right. All right, and finally, we're up to approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting dated August 12th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And one abstention. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on down to appointment and resignations. Board deliberation vote and appointments. The first one is to reaffirm appointment of police officer Michael Fournier. Andrew.
Board was previously asked to sign a signatory letter appointing Michael Fournier as police officer pending the status of pre-employment physical, drug screen, query, and background check, as well as psychological evaluation. Tonight you're asked to reaffirm his appointment.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous. Thank you. Andrew, next.
All right, the next is a reaffirmation of the appointment for cemetery laborers. The board was previously asked to sign a signatory letter appointing John Holbrook as cemetery laborer. Tonight you're asked to reaffirm his appointment.
Do I have a motion for that appointment?
Some.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion passes. It's unanimous. Andrew.
All right, next we have an appointment for the Community Center Feasibility Committee. Attached is a talent bank form from Sue Crockett seeking to be appointed to the Community Center Feasibility Committee. I recommend the board make the appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous.
Next, finally, we have an appointment to the WRTA Advisory Board. Attaches a talent bank form from Brad Howard seeking to be appointed to the WRTA Advisory Board. We have one full member opening and one alternate member opening. I'd recommend the board appoint Mr. Howard to the full member opening with a term expiration date of June 30th, 2026.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
None at all, except for the fact that Brad will be, with his years of being in the railroad industry, will certainly tie in well with the WRTA.
Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous.
Congrats.
Appreciate it, thank you.
All right, and next would be board accept resignations.
No resignations.
Okay. Next, we are moving down to item number 4, scheduled appointments.
We're ahead of schedule. We're 10 minutes ahead of schedule.
Okay. Do we want to go to the planning board, or do we want to move on to number 4? Regional dispatch? Oh. All right, so what we're gonna do, because we have a little bit of time, we're gonna move up, if you look under action items number 4, board discussion, potential property acquisition for the senior center. We're gonna move that up now because we have extra time. Andrew?
All right, so the Community Center Feasibility Committee has been in the process of evaluating potential paths forward to establish a new senior center and/or community center with the goal of moving the senior center out of their current home in the basement of Town Hall. Over the past few years, the committee has evaluated construction of a new facility, lease of vacant properties, and acquisition of existing buildings. After evaluation of each option, the committee has asked that the town further consider pursuing the acquisition of the former Charlton Furniture Building on Russell Hill Road. While the current potential acquisition cost is less than originally proposed 2 years ago when requested through citizens petition, but it's still unknown as potential cost to adequately convert the building from a retail use to an assembly use with a commercial kitchen and other ancillary needs. If the board is interested in further pursuing the potential acquisition of this building, I'd recommend the board authorize a capital request for engineering and architectural services to evaluate the condition of this building, as well as develop a budget and necessary scope of necessary upgrades. This would be developed in preparation for further consideration at the annual town meeting and potential debt exclusion ballot question. An outlay of potential costs would be a property conditions assessment between $5,000 and $10,000, 21E assessment between $2,500 and $2,505,000, commercial appraisal for between $25,000 and $5,000, and architectural design between $15,000 and $30,000. I'd recommend the amount of $50,000 in total be appropriated to support due diligence assessment in preparation for further consideration of acquiring property for this purchase. Additionally, included in your packet is draft language if the board would wish to pursue property acquisition as well as potential debt service projections. So,
Thank you.
what are your wishes of the board on this one?
So before the board speaks, I do know that the community center, the feasibility study committee actually is here tonight, and if they could come up to expand on what our town administrator has just explained. Just please provide your name and, okay, committee, thank you.
I'm Pat Stockwell. I'm the chair of the Senior/Community Center Feasibility Committee. And this is Michelle Drum.
Senior Council on Aging Director, Advisor to the Feasibility Committee.
And I've been on the committee since it was created by this board 3 years ago. And we're here obviously to support this appropriation for due diligence on the furniture store property. I think we've tried to be as fiscally responsible as we could be to the town, while also considering what will best meet the needs of our seniors. So to that end, we've gone through three or four options. One was a new building, another was a building over at the trolley crossing, and now the furniture store. We want to make sure that it's in good shape and we wouldn't be making any mistakes when purchasing it if it comes to that. So,
Would you like to come over
Yes,
now?
please.
this is Hank. I'm sure you guys know Hank. He's our advisor on the committee.
Hank Kamasi.
Would you like to add anything?
I am impressed with the amount of due diligence that this committee has taken. I think that they've all looked at the properties as if they're spending their own money, because it's the town taxpayer dollars that we're looking at. I think that this property has a great deal of potential, not too far from the center of town, and it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting.
And one more thing I'd like to say is that the price of the property has gone down from when it originally, was offered or brought to the town. But it has since then been divided into 2 properties by the planning board, and the other lot was sold, so that's one of the reasons, if not the reason.
And it does have another building on the property that has, potential use for the future, for perhaps a community center or another, so we've got a bonus building.
Right. That's right.
So the other building was sold.
The one to the right, so the one we're talking about is called the Annex, and then there's a building that looks like a house that's also on the same property. And the building to the right was sold, that was split off, by the planning board, it was split into two properties, and they sold it to someone called Premier Electric, I think.
And I just want to, I mentioned, so your board or committee has officially voted to support this, obviously.
Yes,
Council on Aging,
Absolutely voted to support this.
Town Administrator. And I do, just full disclosure, of course, after I was elected in May, I had the pleasure of serving the last few months with all of you and as the ex officio member liaison. And I do appreciate the work that you've done and how fiscally responsible you've been and your passion, quite honestly, for it. So thank you for that. And I will just end with just circling back to something our town administrator had put in a memo not that long ago, which for this board is basically the three choices right now. If we do this, which includes our due diligence, we don't do anything, or we move forward without due diligence. Those are, did I kind of summarize that right?
Yeah, those are essentially the options.
With that, I'd like to open up and see if the board members here have any comments or.
As far as process, this would still go in, this is to put it on the agenda for the fall town meeting. The 50,000.
So that's essentially what the recommendation would need to be, would be a capital item in the amount of $50,000 for that purpose.
Right, so that just so everybody knows, there's no decision for the 50,000 meeting tonight.
No, and then that money is gonna find out whether or not it's wise to move forward.
right.
That's the whole point, because you don't wanna go and spend a ton of money and find out there's something big, large wrong with the property, whatever. But yeah, sorry,
Yeah, I would just say, for me, there's only two, moving forward without due diligence is never an option. That's happened before in this town, and it turned out to be a disaster, so we try to avoid that. For me, I'll just say this has come up many, many times. I'd like a new senior center. I know we all would like to have a new senior center. But for me personally, I can't approve, I'm only one vote, but I can't say yes to $50,000 for a study, for something, whether or not it's gonna tell us due diligence that it's the right building, or it can or can't be this, when you don't have the money to pay for it, if it did turn out to be doable without having tax increases and Prop 2.5 overrides. We have so many other things in this town that we're already worried about paying for, with a lot of capital expenses, including school needs and everything else that we're not gonna be able to pay for. And when I do that forced prioritization, I always have to put, public safety has always been number one for me, like making sure that our community is safe. Schools, this is an important need, want, but I prioritize it below public safety in the schools, and we just have too many other very expensive needs right now. So for me, I'm gonna take no action. If the buildings that we were told years ago, it's gonna sell, it hasn't. I still don't think it's gonna sell. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think this is the time. That's just me. Do I wanna see us have a new senior center? Absolutely. I'm close to be using it with you. I just don't see how we can make that happen this year. That's just 1 out of 5.
the board needs to talk first.
Yeah, I tend to agree with David on that one as well. From the standpoint that I don't know if this year we've learned more. There's a feasibility study that the school sent out on their buildings, on the 7 buildings. And a lot of people don't realize, out of the 7 buildings in the school, which one is going to need the most amount of money in the next 5 years for upkeep? Everybody would think it's Shepherd Hill. It's not. It's Heritage. And the engineering, this is a pretty, anybody can look at this if they want, it's even online. The engineering study showed $30 million within the next 5 years, just to Heritage School alone. Now, I asked the superintendent, is that district-wide, would that be split between Charlton and Dudley? And he said, no, that's because it's the schools in our town. Just like they would take care of their middle school, Heritage is on ours. $6 million of that is for a new roof, and the remaining from year 1 to year 5 is with some errors that were made during construction. that they're just realizing?
But Steve, just a point of order, we're not, I understand what you're saying, but we're not.
I'm just explaining
There's
that,
many things
that,
on our
and this,
radar.
and so that's, you know, I mean, if you're gonna look at wants and needs and obligations, I think certainly 6 million for a new roof, the first thing you do is a roof, and that's definitely, we didn't know about this in February.
Yeah.
This came out.
Let me, one second, any more, Keith, did you want to say?
Yeah, and that's just the time, I won't repeat what's been said, but I do echo David's prioritization of public safety and the school needs, and I do echo Steve's concerns with upcoming capital expenditures for the school district, so that's my position as well.
So I'll add my 2 cents before I open it up back to the committee. This committee formed a feasibility study for the purpose of moving forward with the senior center. This committee has been working years and has brought forth a very viable option. They've done their due diligence, they've spent years on this, and basically we're turning around and saying, well, you know, we know you analyzed all this, but we don't think it's ready, we don't think it's time. All this does to my peers, by approving this, is allow to get to the next step, so the people, the taxpayers, can decide whether or not they want to do this or not, that's all it is. And we'll know right away if, well, we should not stand in the way of this vote, in my opinion.
Madam Chair, then I would simply ask you to ask the taxpayers about the 50,000, because this is not simply a vote to acknowledge work that was done. Everyone here knows that they've done a lot of work. Everyone knows this is something the town really does want. But work put in, as much as we all desire things, doesn't mean, okay, just do it anyway because we can print money. We can't. It's just a simple truth. So unless the taxpayers are going to vote for tax overrides, it's not going to happen. So you'd have to then sell. You can spend the 50,000. It doesn't, if it comes back in any way, shape, or form that says it's doable for this much money, well, then that's going to involve a tax override to pay for this. Town doesn't have the money. We're going to ask the taxpayers then for this tax override for this. At the same time, we know we're going to be hitting them up for the school and other needs that are way more important than critical needs. So there's a critical need and there's a non-critical need. And I appreciate the smirking. This is not a critical need.
Well, don't make me look at people. In fairness, I will say this. We have the recommendation of our town administrator, we have the recommendation of the feasibility study committee, we have the recommendation of the Council on Aging, and we don't yet have FinCom, but I'm willing to bet you that we probably could, because this is the process by which we are supposed to do things. If we vote this down, we are saying we know better, and once again, putting the brakes on something that, in my opinion, is a need. And they've been on, the senior citizens of this town have been on the back burner for a very long time, and it's time that they move up to the front burner.
So, Madam Chair, you're welcome to your opinion, and I will remind you that that's exactly what it is. It's your opinion, and you are one of 5. So you are elected by the people of Charlton to act on their behalf. So am I, so is Mr. Lancet, so is Mr. Cronus, so is Ms. Zorowski. I am making my decision based upon my evaluations, my conversations with people, and what I feel is best for my community. Just like Mr. Lancet, just like you, just like Mr. Cronus, and just like Ms. Zorowski would do. You can sit here and try and berate us that they did X, they did Y. No one's saying they didn't, and it's greatly appreciated, but I still can't make money appear. And while I value your opinion, it's yours. And I expect you to value and respect mine as another duly elected member of this board.
I respect everyone's opinion, but I want to say it's more than my opinion. I look to our peers, look to the people who do this, the professionals, and I go by their guidance. And unlike this board that is right now, but what I will say is this, you brought up a point earlier. So is there a way, let's ask the people, I do believe the people of this town would support the $50,000 if we have to do that, if we can find a way.
Put it on the ballot and find out. Because I would happily have a discussion with you publicly about times that we did receive direction from the expert, but you didn't want to listen to it. So we can't only listen to direction from experts when it's what we want to hear and fits our narrative. We have to take it from the experts, or to take it from other departments, and look at the big picture. I love the seniors. In fact, I have always had, historically, a lot of support from the seniors, because I know I really care, truly care for them, and I'm going out of my way for them.
What are you basing your decision on? I'm
We're-
basing it on the recommendations of all professionals and the people who spent thousands of hours looking into this.
And I
What are you basing
appreciate
this
that.
on?
I'm basing it on what I know this town needs and how we're gonna pay for things and how we can't pay for things. So I appreciate that. You wanna sit here and have this conversation, let's talk about all the time, since you just said on TV that you listen to the experts. No, you don't. You do this time. Let's give the
You can
examples.
zip it, or I will have you removed.
Have me
Mr. Singer.
removed.
You can, please,
Have me
respect. I will
removed.
remind you, the very first meeting that we attended, we all voted on something which was called being respectful to one
Correct.
another. So now I'm
Let's do the
telling you,
playback.
you're going off topic. We need to
I'm
pull
not
it
off
back.
topic, Madam Chair. I'm directly on
We need to
topic.
pull it back, Mr. Singer.
I'm on
I
topic,
am
and if you
telling
watch the
you,
playback,
we
you
need
became
to-
very rude in the way you were talking. That's disrespectful. So I suggest you watch that yourself.
Yes, Mr. Rance.
I would make a motion to move, we're just going in circles. End discussion and vote.
Any other,
People that want to speak, I'm sure.
and we told them that they would be allowed to speak early on. Sure.
Oh, sure.
I would just like to, if I could,
Yes, good.
my speaker, somebody else wanted to speak as well.
Have I been recognized?
Yes, can you come up?
If you can, just pull the microphone closer to you. People at home and me.
Heard some really valid points, and I can't say I argue with anyone. I spent most of my adult life in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Now, Foxborough started out like Charlton, and they invested in the town to draw investment into the town. And you know the saying that you can't make money if you don't spend money? If you make the town attractive to people, the property values go up, businesses come in, the town starts getting more and more money. Now, this investment is $50,000. You need tens of millions to run the town. I'm saying take the small amount, invest it, find out if you can make the town better, more attractive, drive up property values, and, you know, it's hard because you are responsible to the people for the things they need, and you're going to have to go to them and say, we either have to get the money from somewhere or cut something that's unpopular. Let the people decide. You have the recommendation to do the study or to, look into it. I say move forward. I'm finished. Thank you.
I appreciate that, thank you.
My name is Kathy Joliker, and I am just wondering, I don't read a newspaper. So do we have all the information about the building? If the building, what's the square footage, is there, all of that, has that been released to the community?
No, I haven't got to that point.
So without knowing that set of facts, I don't know how anybody can say that it's not a viable opportunity. I've lived here for a long time, 37, 38 years. My husband and I do not have children. Every time there's ever been a vote to approve override for the school budget. We've always done that. Obviously, education is paramount to any community success, but so is the livelihood of our seniors. I don't have any recall of ever having an opportunity for seniors like this. I don't know, honestly, if this building is the right building, but it does just sound right now, tonight, like we're not giving it a consideration. Without knowing the square footage of that building, it's very hard for me to make a decision about whether it's the right building or not.
It's 12,000, the annex is 12,000 square feet, and there's another building, it's another 3,000.
But I thought you said the other building was sold already.
No, there's 2 buildings on this property, so there's actually 2 buildings available for
So those
this
two
price.
buildings, that
Yes.
one, there are so many other things that this community could do. Being on the Keep Charlton Beautiful Committee, there are so many things that we could do to make this community more resourceful, higher accountability for recyclability, for being better stewards of the earth. We could take some of that footage, that square footage, and make it a place possibly for consignment, for auction house, so many things. The parking there is incredible. Who has that kind of parking available already on site? I realize there's going to be changes that need to be done to the building to make it work for this community, but as one person that has used the senior center for a number of years now, I just find it applaudable that this committee has done so much work for a major group. Can I ask, do we know, what is the population, what is the number of senior citizens in this community? And what is their longevity in this community?
4,100. Yeah, 4,100, and that's gone up significantly.
And what is the,
I pulled some numbers just today, and we have surpassed the projections. We added 267 seniors just this last year.
what percentage of our population is that 4,100?
It's about 28%.
And what
And it's
perc-
projected to be 38 by 2030. 38%.
There's more seniors in this town than students.
What is the population of students in this community?
I don't know the answer to that. Over 3,000.
I mean, we have multi-community school facilities. I know Baytop is undergoing a huge, I was on a committee for them to update their educational and facility usage of that building at a huge cost, which is great. But there are other parts of the community that cannot and should not ever be ignored. The other thing that we have in this community is Masonic Home. That is a highly reputable facility. Have they been contacted or reached? Are they a part of this committee? Are they willing to help? People come from all over Massachusetts and other states for Masonic Home because of its reputation and its service to this community. Imagine if they would cooperate with us in this endeavor. Charlton needs to be recognized for something more than just having beautiful rural roads. It has beautiful people, and we need to care for them. I have a senior mother who's going downhill in her health, and it's so scary to see her be alone, and there's just so much more that a community needs to do for our seniors. I just hope that you could take this under stronger advisement and possibly not vote tonight. And I don't think, Karen, that you were being rude at all. Thank you for your voice.
Thank you. I did want to let Mr. Tomaso.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say, and first I'm speaking,
Yeah, you know the rules.
yeah, I know.
State your name.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Tomaso.
Henry Tomasi, and I just want to say I'm speaking as a resident of Charlton, not as a member of the Finance Committee, because I can't speak for them tonight. Just a couple of points I just wanted to bring out. As the past owner of a nursing home and continuing care community, I've seen firsthand the good that it does for seniors to have activities, to have community, to have things, a place to go and to be a part of. And that is something as good a job as Michelle's doing downstairs, okay, that is not a great senior center, okay? And to reiterate something that I heard before, what makes a town a place that people want to live in is the ability to have things like a good library, a good school system, and even a senior center. If we're 25% of this town is seniors, okay, and it's gonna grow, right? And we know it's gonna grow. Dave, I'm like you, I'm finding myself ready to be a senior center, okay, a senior citizen. We should have a place, and if we want to make Charlton a great destination for new residents, we need things like this, okay? And to your point, Dave, about, I get the priorities, I understand public safety, and I've always been one, support the police, support the fire, okay? But you can't wait until those are 100% funded before you start thinking about other things. You've got to do it all at the same time. To spend $50,000 on whatever this building, and we've seen quite a few buildings, okay? This would make a nice senior center. To spend $50,000 to make sure we don't make a mistake, to make sure we get the buildings that we want, to make sure that everything goes smoothly is important. And I don't want to see us be, penny wise and dollar foolish because we think that the residents aren't going to go for it. Give them a chance. Give them the vote, okay? Put it on the ballot.
So, you and I've known Hank a long time. We agree on many times, we disagree on many times. So I agree with Hank on many points. There are still some that I don't agree with. I did hear something, though, from the woman who spoke before Hank that I thought was interesting. The word lease. I just don't know. And my vote, and everyone has their opinions, and I appreciate it, and everyone's a lot of hard work on this, I appreciate that too. It's not changing my position. It's not a question, Hank, of making sure that public safety is fully 100% done first. It's simply, there are other critical needs that have to be addressed. And we don't have the money. Somebody else mentioned cutting, and sure, we could do it and make cuts, but then you have to choose. How many police officers are we gonna cut? How many school teachers are we gonna cut? How many fire department are we gonna cut? Because you're gonna cut, period. If this goes through and we don't have the tax increases to pay for it, there's just no other option than making cuts. Tell us where to make the cuts. How many fire and police and teachers should we cut? Let me finish this, because that is the big picture that we all have to look at. Now,
Just a
the
point of
lease,
order, and then I'll let you finish.
I was just gonna say, the lease that came up, I thought was very interesting, because I haven't heard that brought up. Has anyone approached the building owner about having them just lease it to the town and have them do the retrofitting for the senior center? And we lease it for a period of time.
It came up the first time around, and they were willing to lease it.
For the full, that was for the full big,
Right, so
not just now for one small.
we have to talk to them again about this piece of property.
And I know that they explore everything, but I just wanted to point out what you were mentioning, David. That's not necessarily what's gonna happen, cuts. What's gonna happen is it's gonna go before the people, and they're gonna figure out if to approve a debt exclusion or, but the thing is, they will decide. And
So
I
have the
do,
builder
I
pay for the
do,
$50,000.
I publicly want to apologize if I got a little passionate. I'm passionate about this. This means a lot to me. I've seen what you've been through, and I get a little frustrated, I guess, when the committee, we form a committee to go off and do something, because we do that because it's a priority, and then they come back with recommendations, and we're saying it's not the time. Then why did we form the committee? So
But this happens with all committees,
There's,
and we don't accept every committee's recommendation for everything. We never have. But if we don't form committees, we don't get the information to then make a decision on. If we tell committees that if you do this, it's automatic, that's something that we can't promise.
So
And if we can't promise them it'll happen, it's just, you have to still do that work. And if we want the $50,000 study and this builder wants the building owner wants to sell it, let them pay the $50,000. Let them make that as an investment in the building sale.
That's, again, and Andrew can address this, but that's not how the state, that's not how you progress, that's not best practice. having the.
Oh, I don't agree. I think if the building owner wants to move their property, they certainly can make an investment in moving that property, and they can make the investment in that study to provide the taxpayers with what they need to know to make a major purchase.
When you buy a home, you don't have to.
I have it inspected,
You do, not.
and I can have the buyer, I can have the seller pay for
We're going
things.
off topic.
You absolutely can have the seller pay for things.
So we don't have a motion on, right now.
Correct.
I am going to ask that we listen, have you ever, I don't think I have ever seen the room with so many people, ever. Thank you for coming. Can we work together for a workaround to get this to the people and put this on the warrant?
I'm giving you my position, and the last time this came up,
Would you put it on the warrant for the 50,000? We're not gonna give the.
I'm not gonna vote to put it in the warrant. And we've had this many people show up every time we discuss the senior center. In fact, the last time we had this conversation, a member of our own community got up who uses the senior center and argued against it themselves as a member of the senior center. It's always been a crowd when we have this conversation. And I appreciate the fact that you're passionate about it and you wanna keep pushing it until you hear responses that you want. I can't speak for these two. I'm not gonna vote for this evening. If you wanna talk to them and have them change their positions and get the 3 votes, that's fine.
I just want to address one more time for the last time, it's not what I want, I do want it, but again, it's going with data, with the information that has been given to us, using that information to the people and the professionals who, and the people who know the money, who's saying we can do this and it's not gonna break us to do this.
And I don't agree. That's their opinion,
When we-
this is my opinion, you have your opinion.
But our town administrator is recommending
But
this, and he
you
would.
pointed over there, Mr. Canasi. I'm just saying that.
Okay.
You know, I think, if I can, Madam Chair, there's a couple of points. And I still hear about it, as a previous board at the time. The town spent $1 million through 2 gyrations of a public safety building for plans and architects and feasibility studies. And then when it came down to vote it through, the town voted it down. The town wasted, I think it was $850,000 on plans and feasibility studies. We still haven't heard the end of that. So my point is, of course, we're up here we're here to look after all the people of the town and all the seniors. And not all the seniors use the senior center. So there's a majority of them that are on fixed incomes that would not support an override or could not support an override. We have to think about them as well. Since spending the $50,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but you might as well just throw it in the trash can if you don't think you can get it to pass town meeting for the full amount. And being on the fire substation committee, I can tell you, if you think it's going to cost $500,000 and you pad it, it's gonna cost $1 million. It's the way of cost of doing things with municipal bids and all the other costs that go along with it, between engineering fees and product manager fees, all those things that go into it. It's incredible what it costs.
Can I say something about that? As long as there's anyone else want to speak before? No?
I'd like to speak.
Sure.
I'd just like to say that I don't think that the 50,000 is a feasibility study. If some portion of that, 10, 15, is to look at the property and see if there's any issues with it.
And actually,
So we can make a decision about whether we should even move forward with the property.
and actually, can we pause for 1 minute, and I'm gonna ask the town administrator to read the section where you spelled out everything, and you broke down please.
So the projected due diligence would be between $5,000 and $10,000 for property conditions assessment, assessing what is currently on site. And the current conditions of it, and essentially ensure that the building is in good condition. 21E assessment to ensure that there's no hazardous materials, that's between $2,500 and $5,000. Appraisal of the building to ensure that the price that is being offered to us is the actual, it appraises to that amount, that between $25,000 and $5,000. And architectural design work to provide a schematic design of what would be done on the interior of the building. Doing that between $15,000 and $30,000.
And I will add that we're never, and I rarely use the word never, but if we're looking at buying a property, no matter whatever the property is, we are going to have to spend money before, we have to do our due diligence. And the fact of the matter is that the property value, it's so inexpensive. I mean, I just don't get it, but who is that board member? Yeah, Pete.
Does that include, are we accounting for any ADA assessments in those workups, or is that,
That would be part of the property conditions assessment.
But again, though, just the point, that's one of those things that can just make things.
So just another, if I may, so going back to, again, earlier options on this particular building, I would be more willing and open to support considering this location if the building owner who wants to sell it to us foots the bill for that study. Or, Andrew, why can't we have our own building inspector, plumbing and electrical inspectors that already work for the town? Give it a cursory, have them go. They work for us. Give it a once over. Check out the building, check out the structure, the plumbing, the electrical, and come back and give us at least a high level. We saw some glaring things, stay away, or it looks pretty good. Maybe it is okay to move forward with some of the things. And also at the same time, you're having them check this out, tell the building owner, listen, you really want to have the town move in here? Put some skin in the game, fund the study for the town to be able to show their seniors and our residents that this is viable without wasting another $50,000 on studies that maybe go nowhere until there's another $50,000 in 2 years for updated studies. Let's see if we can have our inspectors look over the building. Give us some high-level feedback on it and talk to the building seller while we're doing that, saying, would you be willing to put up yourself to pay for that stuff?
But wait, I don't, sorry. All you have to do is, because I did the deep dive into this, by the way. This is not what's recommended by any attorney, any lawyers at the state guidelines. We're actually, I don't want to say putting ourselves in jeopardy by having our people go there.
Yeah.
That's now how it has to get done. It's outlined, you can just look it up.
Right, but
Massachusetts,
I'm
what
not
you have to
saying
do
to
as a
use
municipal,
them.
what you have to do, David, it's very.
Well, that's fine, then my
very
vote's no.
strict, very strict.
Then my vote's no.
Andrew,
I wasn't asking them for
Right.
inspections and official inspections for sign off to purchase. I was asking them to just go and give us an opinion from their professional opinion. That's all it is. And there's no law that says they can't give us a professional opinion.
I'm
But
just
barring
saying
that, then
it's-
I'm out.
But if we find out that they've
That's
been
my,
correct.
we have no motion, so it's irrelevant at this point.
But-
It's moot.
if I'm understanding you right, that would be the first step, and the second step would be the official $50K to do the official studies. Am I understanding you right?
Well, if they all came back, I might be willing to have the conversation more.
Right.
If I have, my inspectors come back and say, look, we really don't see anything and we really think there's nothing glaring.
Sound bonus.
Yes, electrical, plumbing, structure. And then I still think we should be asking, that does not preclude us from asking the building owner. Look, they want to make $1.5 million, well, $50,000 to make $1.5 million. That's not a big investment to turn 1.5 mil, so.
That's, David, that's kind of where I was going as well, and you pretty much covered Andrew, first line item on Andrew's list. Number 2 was the contamination part. That's a deal breaker, obviously. That, we might want to fund that.
The town bought Dresser Hill and turned out to be a mess.
Yes.
Well, and that's exactly why we need to follow the guidelines given to us by the state and what the attorney would recommend, and not be shoemakers, people. I mean, this is serious business. There is protocol to follow when a municipality purchases a property. We think we may know, but we don't know what we don't know. And I'm telling you, if you look it up, then you talk to
I
the
don't know where
attorney.
you're coming from though, Madam Chair, I'm just saying, because no one suggested we don't follow protocol. No one suggested we don't have soil inspections, water inspections, building inspections, and everything we have to do. But we're not even gonna get to that point, because we can't have someone look at it first and give us their opinion of whether they think, hey, we don't see anything glaring before you invest that money in those studies and inspectors. We already have professionals on staff. We're not precluded from getting their opinions either. And we can argue this we've been here arguing this for probably close to half hour, 40 minutes, and we've made no progress, and unless you're gonna make a motion yourself, I don't see it coming unless Steve or Pete's gonna make it. We're just arguing for the sake of arguing and making all of them sit here, listen to the arguing longer than they need to be here. Watching us argue
Actually,
amongst
I think we have more
ourselves.
people that want to speak, yeah?
Mike's been
Mike, I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Thank you. You all know me, I'm extraterrestrial. And I wanted to give you a look on what senior center is about and why it's so needed. We have a senior center that is now being filled up. And it's happy about it. Because the more comes that we can get the elderly in here, the more living life they have. They're gonna have a good time with it, and be important of it. And that's just one of them. And then what the senior center seniors do is they try to help build up on the seniors by offering them to come in. You know, we don't have people coming out from anywhere just saying, come in, come in. We bring them in ourselves, and they certainly stay with us, as you notice in the report, talking about it. And I just want to say that these people in the senior center who are override these people coming in and making them feel better and stronger and have a living reason to do this. The people at the senior center is really a productive people. And I'm very proud of them. I'm proud to be a member of it. And they're doing so much with so little. And I'm talking about things that we need, the places that we could probably go or something like that. You know, it's amazing, you know, that these people stick together. And you know what it is? It's all in the heart. We've got a great group of people, and I'm gonna leave it there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's more than just. You may come up, sir.
Chair, Mike.
Hold the chair, hold the chair.
Hold the chair. Beat it.
Someone else.
My name is Wes Stevens, I've been in this town, I hate to say it, 84 years. But until just now, I can put a name to a face, because this is the first time I've come to a meeting since you guys were 5, we used to be 3, but there were 5 up there. But the point that you made about how many people actually use it, there'd be more people that would use the senior center if they could get into the place. There's no parking. The front is all parked, that's all full up there. You get about 10 spaces maybe down here and some in the back. But it's not a place that people can walk into. It's hard to get to. You gotta come up a hill, or you gotta come down the hill, or you take the elevator if you get over here. So I'm only in that senior center a few times a week. But it's cracked, it's packed with people. You can get in there. I know people that would love to go, and I would go get them, but they just can't walk in. And the elder bus brings them up and drops them off at the side door. I mean, it just isn't acceptable.
No, and you're absolutely right that build it and they will come. And the other communities that I've looked into, once they build something.
For us people, us seniors that paid taxes all these years, at the end, what do we get? They're not too old, don't worry about it. We don't need anything. It's like a one-man show up here tonight. I hate to say it, but he's the only one that's talking. So anyways, thank you for listening.
On his point, I'm not to say another word on this issue.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Darcy. I've lived in Charlton 27 years. This is the heart of your community. This is the people who've paid your taxes. Wes, 80 years. You've got people here 7 years who graduated from this building. These are your taxpayers. These are your people who pay your paychecks. Whew, I can come from a different angle with this. I've been involved with handicap and senior citizens my whole professional career. So when I'm a senior now, 63, but I use the senior center to help me care for the people that I was caring for. For example, to go out lunches, I used to come every day to pick up the lunches for my people. Parking was atrocious if I was bringing a gentleman here to visit the senior center who's in a walker. So I was so grateful to see the elevator put in. That was a huge thing for me, that we could use the elevator then. I've seen different directors come through the center, and now what I see, I don't bring anybody here. The ramp just to get to the bathroom, if you knew what it was like to be 85 years old, 95 years old, having a walker so I come at this with a different angle. I don't know why we don't have investors on Route 20. I do not know why Charlton doesn't have a grocery store. I don't know. I don't know why we don't have investors. But I say this, thank you for the new fire department, because that's the end of Charlton where I live. And I've been there for 24 years without a fire department. The Dudley guys used to come to my house. If my taxes have to go up, I want them to go up for a new senior center, because that's the heart of your community.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Almost every scheduled appointment, that's a major part of
My name's Jim Howard. Lived in town 52 years. I used to be head of the council at the senior center. And I'm not sure I understood everything that went on, because I went on Tuesdays, I go into Worcester and meet with the veterans, and when I came home, my wife told me there was a call about a meeting about the senior center, and it was about purchasing Charlton furniture, is that correct?
That's what the,
Yes.
pretty much all about, yeah.
Well, if I remember correctly, this thing came to a town vote, I'm guessing maybe 4 years ago. Cindy was head of the council at the time. And of course, there was a little conflict because the fire station and the police station needed money, which was appropriate. But the thing was defeated. The purchase of the Charlton furniture thing was defeated by something like 150 something to 36. Was justifiable, I thought, because the price at the time, I have no idea what they're talking about now for price, but back then it was something like 2.2 million, and they estimated another at least 105 million to upgrade it for the use of seniors. Plus, people don't realize the heating system up there is, the town's got to pay for the heat up there. And it was built with a system of toiletry, which was just meant for visitors at there, so they'd have to put a new septic system. Just a lot of money. Additionally, I heard the land up there might be contaminated. I think there was an old chicken farm or something up there, but anyway. I've been a big advocate, and one of the reasons I was against it, but I've been a big advocate. Everybody wants a senior center. I mean, there's no question about it. But in my opinion, the first thing we should be looking for is a piece of land that's on the water and sewer right now. Buy the land, take it one step at a time, and then, you know, maybe put a building. And I did check last time, 4 or 5 years ago, down on Route 20, next to the dog place. I forgot the name of the place, but right next to the dog place, a guy put up a building. It's quite similar to Charlton Furniture. It's a metal outside building. Guy paid $200,000 for the land, and I think he said he paid $2 million for the building, but it's all modern, it's beautiful. And that's the kind of stuff we should be looking for, instead of, we spent, I don't know how many millions or hundreds of thousands looking at land at number 3 Dresser Hill, and the total price for that was something like 23 million. I mean, you gotta be nuts. And then we were looking up at, Charlie Crossing and something, I don't know what happened there, but anyway, my opinion is we should be looking for land, and we should look for something new, which isn't gonna cost the town a fortune to heat and pay taxes on for the rest of our days. Thank you.
So we're gonna close public comment now because it's getting late and actually we're appointing. So I will just ask one more time, my peers, will you give the people opportunity to vote on it? That's all. And if not, then I guess there's no motion, it dies, and I'm sorry.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, David.
Any motions at all?
You take a motion from the floor.
I can't. Okay, yes, you got your answer. I'm sorry.
Thank you anyway. Thank you for my details.
All right. Moving back, where are we?
We're up to 6:45.
CMRCP, open space and recreation,
May I ask you, due to the time,
land presentation.
can we do regional dispatch? And then
We have that ready.
I'm just saying, we've already, we start 6:45 or 7:15.
Saru?
Yeah, hi, can you see me?
Is there any way we can get this one done in 5 minutes?
No, it's gonna take me that long.
I just have a question. Is there a board member missing? There is a board member missing.
Yeah. 5.
They're ready to go. We're still having a meeting.
Sure, do you mind if I flip-flop you in the agenda? Because we have an appointment that's time sensitive for 7:30. Is it all right if I move you over to about 7:45? Drew, can you hear me?
Either that, or if you can't do that,
I know what. They're gonna do the, they're already, we'll go fast.
Oh, I know, but I have to.
Drew, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hear you. Is it okay if we take you out of order after the next agenda item? Like, we do have time-sensitive work for 7:30, and then I can turn it over to you.
I don't think I'm going to see it now. I can.
If that's okay with you.
Okay, all right.
All right, well, we'll be back. So just hold on, and then I'll let you know when we're all set.
All right.
So we'll go to.
Should I leave?
No, you can stay. You can stay on. Just stop. If you could just stop sharing the screen, and then I'll turn it over to you when we get to the open space plan.
All right.
Thank you.
So we're moving on down, 7:30. Regional
Sure.
dispatch proposal.
Yep. All right, so in close reconsideration are several documents pertaining to the proposal for regional dispatch services. These include the mission critical feasibility study, a PowerPoint presentation regarding regional dispatch, and a formal proposal submitted by the Central Mass Regional Communications Center, CMRCC, to be considered by the town. Tonight, you have Chief Dowd, Chief Barton, and Special Projects at State 911 Director Peter Kittis, and CMRCC Executive Director Michael Moriarty before you to present the proposal, answer any questions that you have. Turn it over to you guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll be very brief. I think you're at a crossroads and you've got two directions to go. You need to bring on a few more full-time dispatchers and probably a director to keep it here in Charlton. If you're not willing to do that, so that we're doubled up all the time and that we have available resources, I think that you should consider regional, because that will accomplish that. And I will leave the particulars up to others to, if you have any questions, but I think that's where you're at. I don't think we can do it the way we currently exist. We're putting Band-Aids on staffing where we really should be 2 or 3 people at all times.
See if I can close that.
Yeah, I agree with Chief Dowd. We've been sort of working on this for probably about 18 months now. The Mission Critical did a study that started before the board. This study was conducted. The findings were pretty evident that regional was the way to go. And you know, we are kind of at that crossroad of having to decide. The benefits are there. Mike Moriarty is here from originally was called Rutland Regional. They've now since formed up as Central Mass Regional Communication Center. There is a PowerPoint that put into the packet that you guys can, you're able to review and talk about it. The benefits are there. Regional dispatch is kind of the up and coming thing across the country. Massachusetts is kind of just coming on a little bit late to it. And there's just significant sort of benefits for operations, police and fire, and then as well as some incentives from the state that obviously Peter Kittis can talk about as well.
So just to sum it up, we're basically leveraging economies of scale to pool resources to provide better coverage in an initiative that's been demonstrated to work in other areas of the country, in Massachusetts and in other disciplines such as the medical community, where they have a centralized CMED system in Massachusetts. So this is a tested model that has proved value added to many communities. Is that a good summary?
Yes. Very good. Yeah. Chief Dowd said it best. If we could plan our emergencies, we could upstaff our centers, but we can't plan our emergencies, so regional dispatch does it really, they kind of do that.
And on that, that's the same lines as mutual aid. If we can't upstaff our police and fire at all the time. That's why we leverage mutual aid. So in the similar circumstance, we're leveraging mutual dispatch for this.
Right.
And if I could as well, Peter Kidis, Director of Special Projects, State Outland. When we talk about it being kind of relatively new in Massachusetts, relatively new being 20, 30 years, across the country, again, you see that more as the norm. First of all, this isn't a slight against the current Charlton dispatchers by any means. They do a fantastic job. I know them personally, and they do fantastic work. It's just that there's kind of a better model, if you will. And quite honestly, it's not necessarily fair to the current staff where they have one dispatcher, two dispatchers on, and like you said, the economies of scale, where if you have a large-scale incident, they're fantastic at multitasking, but it's not necessarily the correct model or a good model to moving forward. The call volume rising, things going on like that. So again, talking about the relatively newness of it, I mean, Rutland previously was in operation, I can let Mike speak to this, since the 1980s. There's currently 32 different regional centers across Massachusetts. It's working in all parts of the state. There's models, different models and ways of doing it. And I think the chiefs did their due diligence in figuring out which model, which center kind of fits their mold and their model that they're looking for. Kudos to them, to the team.
The only thing in closing I would say, I'm not closing for anybody else, myself, I don't think you want to be the last pig to the trough. If you're gonna jump in, and that's the decision this board makes, I think you should do it sooner so that people can, have a commitment to jobs and apply for those jobs, and that we can hatch a plan of what we're going to do, because I don't want the building to go dark. I do want people in the building, but I can't make a plan until I have a direction. And,
So I think these two know where I stand. That hasn't changed in 20 years. Everybody else may not. So I'll put it out there. I'm not opposed to regional dispatch. But for it to happen, I do have my own personal hangups or wants and needs. The first of which was, and it was always the big hangup, and it's the same with every town, right? That's fine, I'm on board, but I want it in my town. That hasn't changed for me. So my first plan A would be, I'm willing to support it if the regional dispatch center is based in Charlton. Plan B, if it wasn't based in Charlton. That's where my other concerns come up. I'm not necessarily opposed to it if it wasn't in Charlton, knowing the surrounding communities, because what's gonna be 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive, it's not a hard place to get to. But this is where it comes to the buts. Like Dan said, and he knows me on this, I don't want a dark police station. I believe very much that it's a public safety issue. You hope it's never needed, but if someone flies in that parking lot, there needs to be a person there, not a camera. So I need to know that my station is not gonna go dark, and I know that it's not necessarily always a discussion of a cost savings, because even if there is a cost savings here, we might be using those cost savings to now staff our police station so that it never goes dark. So even if we lose the cost savings, we still, I think, what we want the public to understand is still gain. If we're not gaining by savings, we're gaining in efficiencies and abilities, and that is very important. So if it wasn't here, if the plan, we can keep our department open and staffed, and B, and this may be the hang up for many, is our dispatchers, they are outstanding. If we're gonna do this, then I would agree with Dan and Rob that you gotta do it soon, because if we wait, our dispatchers are not gonna have the opportunity to have these jobs. And for me to do it, our station has to stay lit, can't go dark, and our dispatchers, we need to be in this early enough so our dispatchers get the first dibs at these jobs, not somebody else. But I wanna do this also, if we wind up having now regional dispatch, and now our dispatchers have no job. So that's for me. I just wanna know, I'll support it, but we have a plan that keeps us open, and we're gonna move on this right away so our dispatchers can have these jobs. If we're gonna wait and then everybody else gets hired, by the time they're gonna come in to try and get these jobs, they're not gonna have any jobs for our dispatchers, so I'm not gonna support it. And if we're gonna have to go dark with the police station, I'm not gonna support it. So those are my in Charlton, and if it's not in Charlton, then I'm asking for those two things. Keep it lit, don't have a dark station, and move so our dispatchers can get in here.
I think we gotta take geography right off the table, because we have no control over
So
that.
that
And that's
way-
gonna be a decision, and every town feels the
Right.
same way you do, David.
Exactly.
And if you opt to go in, there's gonna be somebody who wins, and there's gonna be people that lose out. So I don't think we should get involved in that fight so much as I think you gotta get behind the principle.
Right. Oh,
Which
having a plan
direction
B.
do you think the town needs to go to in the future to deliver the services that you want the community to have?
Right, and doing so, such as a regional, but at the same time, that, if that's Plan B, because they decide as a regional it's not gonna be in Charlton, then we still have to have that plan, that we're not gonna go
We're in
dark.
agreement, sir, that we shouldn't be a dark building.
Correct, and we have to cover our team.
Yes.
I have a technical question. Is there capabilities such as Fleet Eyes or Blue Force Tracker where you could see the participating towns' assets on a map in the command center or the dispatch?
To answer that, yes. Our new CAD system that we're implementing currently right now, Hexagon has that capability of tracking all assets across the entire district.
So the reason I asked, so like on the peripheries of our town, if you're gonna make a call to Charlton, but, Dudley's closer, you could potentially save a life by getting a resource there more quickly. So I mean, that's another benefit of having that regional capabilities, I would assume.
But the biggest problem is when there isn't an incident, it's trying to pull people in. Because it's 2:00 in the morning and you couldn't plan a fire, to Robbie's point. So now it's trying to get people, I've got great people, but I can't necessarily get them there within 20 minutes because they're sound asleep, they're at home, they're not at work. Regional covers that a little because of the number of bodies that they have. So it gives us some assurances that we can, in an unfortunate situation, we'd be able to respond better. You hope those situations don't occur, but when they do,
Right.
at least you're well-staffed on that end.
And I have experience overseeing in a former position at dispatch center. I don't think people appreciate the amount of work that goes into it. It's not just fielding a call and making a call. There's a lot of coordination, a lot of work. I was running one piece of equipment and we had 3 dispatchers to manage that. So I mean, it's a challenging position.
Yes, sir.
So, quick question, for a regional, are we looking at what, 20, 30, 40 dispatchers to staff a regional center?
So the proposal that was, I believe, included with your packet, has approximately, in all with the district, 40 employees. So we would be ultimately looking at hiring another 31-ish employees on top of the current staff. that we have.
Okay, so it is a large dispatch staff.
There'd be approximately 10 to 13 bodies on the floor at all times.
Wow.
Do you have a question, Steve?
Yeah, I do. But my question goes a little bit more about the regionalization, the concept, and what happens. I read the 5-year plan, I read the entire packet. What happens on year 6? And I look at our school department and regionalization, that hasn't happened, it took 50 years to get there, but that hasn't always worked out in our favor. And right now, we get an assessment, the school increases things $2.5 million, Charlton pays 70% of that, and Dudley pays 30% of that roughly, with enrollment about the same. So if you look at enrollment and compare it to call volume, that wouldn't, my concern is what's gonna happen on year 6. Because it does get very expensive, and what would the assessment look like? Who controls the assessment? And once you put a building in there, that assessment number is gonna go.
Yeah, one thing, it's difficult to forecast what it's gonna look like in 6 years because the geography around us may have changed. We may be mandated by the state at some point to go to regionals. Then you don't have the input you do now in choosing where you wanna go. That's what I'm concerned. That's what's happened in Connecticut, and that's what's happened in other states. Basically, Verizon doesn't want to maintain PSAPs. PSAPs is a device that 911 calls come into. They don't want to do it. They feel that there's far too many in the state of Massachusetts. So Verizon is pushing through the state to consolidate and make less PSAPs available. So at some point, you're going to be, I didn't imagine if I was Nostradamus, I would say they're going to tell us, you're going here or going there, but you don't have any other options. Right now, we're on the ground floor and we can get involved early and hopefully have some say in the process and what it looks like. as far as the forecast of what it's gonna be like in 6 years, I mean, the state may have funds, the state may be bankrupt, I don't know what the state's gonna look like in 6 years.
Sure, thank you. To your point, sir, a couple points. You're right. To the chief's point, there is no mandate currently to go regionalization. I'm not Nostradamus, so I don't know what the future's gonna hold. It'd make my job a lot easier if there was, but we don't know. So there is not a mandate. It is highly incentivized though, as you see from the purchase of a building, the various grants, various funding. Our funding is completely on the 911 surcharge. So you see in your cell phones, your home phones, any device that connects to 911, there's currently a $1.50 surcharge. And that fund, per statute, those funds come to the state 911 department for us to distribute accordingly. Again, it's highly incentivized. So your question about the year 6, for the first 5 years, it's covered, the first 3 years 100%, then 75%, then 25%, 50%, then 25%. So on year 6, you would just be 100% of what the assessment would be. Again, I can let Mike speak to what the current assessment is and what the potential cost savings could be. But for concerns of are the funds gonna be there, as long as you keep buying the devices that connect to 911, that surcharge per statute will be there. And again, that's separate from any state appropriation where it's not in the general funds of the Commonwealth. We're not particular to any cuts in regard to that. Then again, I can let Mike speak to
The proposal actually said, you almost can't look at it as a cost savings.
Right.
And they admitted that, so we definitely know, we can understand it's not that. It's just the, and it is a control thing, we're giving up some control. We're not giving, it's not the control, it's like ego control, it's financial control. Where if we have to hire 2 more, and the other, we're also, I believe our police and fire department are probably ahead of the curve as far as neighboring towns. So would they, taking that into consideration, do they have more to gain by doing this than we do?
Well, and I think that's the beauty of regionalization, one of the benefits of regionalization, is that it's very customizable. So when you talk about a dark station where you're not gonna have someone, or you don't want to relinquish someone at the station 24 hours, 16 hours, it's totally up to the towns, up to the chiefs, it's up to the town administrator, up to the board, to figure out what that model will be. It's not necessarily Mike saying, all right, you have to go dark, it's up to your chiefs, up to your board, up to the people in this room to determine that. And you're right, it should not be viewed as solely as a cost savings, 100%, I'll be the first one to admit it, it needs to be public safety oriented. In fact, back to my original point, where there kind of is a better wheel, if you will, there's a better way of kind of presenting and conducting the work, where no slight against the current dispatchers, like I said, but there's more beneficial models. And again, coming to the dark station, there's other avenues, hiring staff, doesn't have to necessarily be a police officer or a firefighter, you can have different various routes of staff. Technological wise, I know I'm talking about the camera, but there's different. You go to a bank nowadays, you can get a loan, walking in and there's nobody there, you're talking to a virtual receptionist. So there's different ways and different avenues of looking at that. But the beauty of it is that it's up to the chiefs, it's up to the town administrator, up to the board.
As far as the assessments though, the assessments are from the regional board itself.
Our assessment is on page 39 of the agreement, is just based off of the current towns that are in the Rutland and Spencer and Charlton. Because Spencer has voted yes already and now it's Charlton. And that's just because we had it just based on us 2. If we had Southbridge, Sturbridge, Auburn, those assessments would have been much higher, and it's based off of population. That's it. So in year 6, in year 10, in year 15, in year 20, our assessment is straight up based off of population, and Mike can, talk on that more. So if you look at the town of Hubbardston, they only pay $88,000. The town of Oakham only pays $40,000. The town of Warren pays $94,000. It's all based on population. It has nothing to do with comparing the W. Charlton Regional School District to this regional dispatch center. It's all based on population of our town, not based on the financial growth of our town. It's all based on population of the towns.
Yep, and then I'll just
If it stays that way, but I'm gonna say, cause.
Well,
When you went through the agreement, that's gonna point out how it's paid.
Yeah, that's laid out in the district agreement, so it's in there, and for that to change, the district has to agree on that unanimously to change that formula. So right now, it's like the chief said, population based, and you still have control. So the district is made up of 3 different boards. You have your administrative board, your operations board, and your finance committee. The finance committee is the one that's steering the budget. And that's a chief financial officer from your community would be part of that finance committee as well. So you still have a say in the budget and shaping the budget the way it should be, and try to control costs as well. So you still have say on all aspects. The 2 chiefs are part of the operations board. Your town administrator would be part of the administrative board. So you still have a say in how the district runs and moves forward from day one. So just want to make sure that you still have some kind of control. You're not losing everything.
Any other questions? I will say, I'm behind us 100%. I had the opportunity to talk to some of you, and I appreciate your time and to answer the questions that I had. It makes sense from, I mean, there's everything from public safety to finances. It just, the packet was very, very thorough. Thank you. My only proposal, I think, would be, I know, I would like to know our FinCom, you know, what their recommendation would be. And I know we have a meeting, like, we don't have to vote on this tonight.
Your next meeting is a joint meeting with the finance.
Would we be open to that? That gives us more time to think of a few more questions, or, but I do think it's very important to also hear the recommendations of the FinCom, Finance Committee.
He's also going to, have you seen the packet yet, or? Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
That's a good idea, actually.
are you all on board?
Is
all on
this
board
time
with that?
sensitive at all, or?
The joint meeting is, Andrew?
20 weeks.
In 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't think 2 weeks is going to, but I don't think we should be waiting 2-3 months.
Nope, it would be 2 weeks. We would have a decision in 2 weeks.
Oh,
So I will not be here, and I'm not gonna fly back to America.
You can call in remotely.
From Amsterdam.
I know I sound like I've been a little critical,
Overseas
but I,
call.
Well, we can make
What
the
I-
motion contingent, we could approve contingent upon the approval of FinCom as well, but
I come back to what I had said earlier, that I wasn't opposed to it, but how I get a commitment for those 2 things, and I understand Dan, right? Dan can't say it's gonna be in Charlton. Okay. But if it's not, then we're gonna have a plan to stay open and not go dark, and we're gonna move to protect our team. So, in other words, for me to support it, I mean, how do I have those commitments, right, so to speak?
So,
But
Once
is
we
there-
make this vote, how do we, you know?
hold on 1 minute, just so we keep it, but to make it clear, that's what you're asking for,
Correct.
that doesn't mean that the entire board.
Correct, I'm one of 5.
Right, Pete, Mr.
So
Wilson.
that decision's on us. If we want to give Dan an FTE to keep it
Correct.
up, so that has nothing to do with the regional agreement.
Right, I'm only saying
Yeah.
from my vote, right, we talked earlier about different things in votes, I'm saying, because everyone wants to know how, for me to vote yes, this is what I'm asking. And if this does come to a vote, I'm simply asking, how do I have that as a commitment for me to vote yes, otherwise I'm simply gonna vote no. I just want a commitment that if it's not in
Yeah,
Charlton,
my
we're.
discussions with Gary have been, let's see what the board wants to do, and then depending upon what decision you make, then we'll make some plans and give you some options of what it looks like, so you would be able to have some.
So are you saying that if we
But
vote
there's no
yes?
plan I'm gonna put forward that is the building's dark.
So there's no commitment tonight on a vote, or there is a commitment? If we vote tonight, are we in region?
They can't commit to that, David?
Well, that's why I'm asking.
I think that's what they're
So-
asking.
You're voting a vote would be to sign the letter of intent.
Which means basically joining the regional.
Oh, I thought you meant having it here.
So if we're gonna, if our vote tonight means we're joining regional.
Right, we wouldn't start tomorrow, it's just, my only thing is
Oh, I know we're
like
not gonna start tomorrow,
right,
but to
it's-
vote
There's
yes.
just to your second point, there's other towns that are gonna be voting at some point.
Correct.
And the agreement with the regional is, as the towns sign the district agreement, that is the order of preference that the dispatchers get in the opportunities for joining.
Right, so we wanna go first, or as close to first as possible, so our team gets covered. So the other part of that then is, so it behooves us to move quickly, so our team gets first dibs at applying to get these jobs. But that doesn't cover our building, now that's gonna be upon the board, Andrew, the chief. And so I'm simply saying, again, commitments from you, that if this happens, we're gonna stay open. I'll give you my yes vote, knowing that we're gonna be open, not go dark, and we're gonna move in time, so our team gets priority. Otherwise, I'm still only one of five, but otherwise, short of that, I'm a no on it.
And I just also want to throw a caution out there. So right now, we're talking to the 5 communities right now, and they're currently having these meetings. I have been meeting with 3 additional communities on top of that. And as we bring on communities, we may not have to hire additional personnel because of the way the model is. We may not need additional personnel. So right now, we're looking for approximately 31 to 35 people. Bringing on these 3, we may not have to hire anybody else. So ultimately, it's bringing that pool of people down even more. So I do want to stress the importance of possibly sooner than later, but I don't want to, just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, if I was correct, I assumed that the reason we wanted to move quickly on this tonight was so that our team is in a position to get the jobs and not fall to the bottom.
But that decision's still gonna be based on a lot of other things.
Correct, nothing's a
Individuals,
guarantee.
yeah, of course it's
Right, nothing's a guarantee, but if you sit here and tell me my team has no chance, I'm a no vote. If they say we're gonna go dark, we can't do this, it's a no vote. So I'm just simply saying, this is what I would be asking, to be one of the yes votes if
There's no intention to go dark, David. Any proposal I will bring forward, I will bring forward a staffing plan to make sure that, no, when we hire a combination of civilians and, you know, how many.
Now, you figure out how to keep it open.
But those, we'll bring some ideas forward.
I'd like to motion that we move on to vote pending FinCom's approval too, so if we don't have to delay it, so we can have our answer, and as long as they sign off on it, we can move forward.
We have a
That's
motion, do we have
reasonable.
a second?
You made your motion, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and again, just to be clear, it's contingent upon FinCom approving, and they meet sooner than our joint meeting, correct?
Correct, next week.
Next Wednesday. Any discussion?
No, other than I hope,
Hold on.
Yeah, well, with FinCom approving it, but what if we don't at that point, if something else comes up and we find.
It's a week,
Huh?
it's next week, they're meeting next week. It's
well,
not
I
the
think,
joint meeting.
and correct me, but I'm not gonna speak for you.
Well, it's more, it's the question, it's a little bit of a loaded question, do we have a problem now, or did this solution create a problem?
Moving to this model will put us in a better position for staffing. So you're either gonna have to come back and say, we don't wanna go regional, but I'm gonna give you a lot more money to hire some people so you can get those numbers, which you folks control the money. So you're gonna have to let me know what you wanna do. I mean, either way it works. Give me more personnel to hire more dispatchers so that I can run it with 2 people overnight all the time. Or go to regional, which accomplishes that.
What happened to you volunteering to take the pay cut for the last few
Well,
months?
you know,
All right, so we have the motion and second, are we ready to vote? You good?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, so.
So, and just, so
Thank you.
for the next meeting, I'm praying FinCom quickly, because what happens if FinCom says no, then this is dead in the water. Right?
That's how
I would recommend that if FinCom does not agree, that discuss it.
Okay.
All right, thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you. Technically the 7th, if I do it.
Get out to the open space and that. All right, Turu, are you on?
Don, you're on after this.
I will leave you this one note, I'm 100% in
All right.
favor of the.
So we're actually popping back up
Oh, yeah.
to CMR PC, Open Space and Recreation Plan presentation. Andrew?
All right, we'll just make sure Turu is on. Turu, are you there? All right, awesome, yeah, I see it. All right, I'm just gonna introduce you real quick. All right, so last year, the town of Charlton undertook the process of updating the town's open space and recreation plan. The last open space and recreation plan update was approved by the board in 2017. The plans are reviewed and approved by the Commonwealth to ensure that they conform with the current requirements, and the most recent update to those requirements was in 2025. When a community has an open space and rec plan, it becomes eligible for Division of Conservation Services grant programs. The process of developing the open space and rec plan was developed by CMRPC and guided by the Open Space and Rec Committee comprised of Bill Blasius, Diane Doherty, Peter Capuano, Rose Conway, and myself. Tonight, Taru from CMRPC is here to present the overview of the final plan in preparation of submitting it to the state for approval. So, Taru, go ahead.
Thank you so much, and thank you all of you for being here. Am I audible?
Yes, we got you.
Oh, okay, great. My name is Taru. I'm a principal planner with CMRPC. I mostly do resiliency planning with CMRPC, but I'm also involved with land use planning and OSRPs. So this particular OSRP, in this presentation, we'll be mostly doing OSRP highlights. We'll be talking about the community outreach results. We'll be talking about the process through which the 10-year action plan was reached, as well as the key features of the 10-year action plan, as well as next steps and closing remarks. So just a mention of all the people who've been involved. So the committee, Andrew's mentioned already, but I'll just reiterate. Andrew's goal is the town administrator, Rose Conway, Conservation Commission, Peter Capiano, Conservation Commission, Deanne Doherty, Recreation Commission, William Blazes, Charlton Heritage Preservation Trust. They led the process primarily and were instrumental in the formation of the plan. On the CMRPC side, we had Trish Settles, Matt France, Danny Marini King, myself, Sarah Plotnicki, and Greg Jarvis were very involved in the plan. So the planning process, as the processes tend to go, started with the formation of the OSRP committee, and in collaboration with CMRPC, we collected data, community profile, demographic profiles, housing and other data from US Census about the town itself. We conducted mapping and GIS analyses to understand environmental issues and concerns, water quality concerns. We also created an inventory of open spaces. Once we had a general landscape of secondary data and understanding of the secondary data from Charlton, we conducted a community survey. The survey was fairly successful. We will talk more about it later in the presentation. And then using insights from the survey, the committee and the planners came up with key strategies and the 10-year action plan. So after we had created the plan, we created the general document with the various chapters as required by the state. And then after we are done with today's presentation, we will open the document and submit it to the State Division of Conservation Services. And once we have review and acceptance and conditional approval from DCS, we will move to final approval. Purpose of an OSRP, open space is important for the economic future of the town. This kind of a plan assists the town in obtaining the benefits of development while protecting the environmental assets and helps to prevent the overwhelming of available town resources. Communities with OSRPs that are approved by the state are eligible to apply for parkland acquisitions, renovations of communities, that is park grants, local acquisition for natural diversity, that land grants, and other state grant programs. As mentioned before, the last OSRP for Charlton was updated in 2017. So the plan highlights. Quickly, from the secondary data, we found that Charlton has a general median age of 40 years old. We can see that the largest percentage of population here is 45 to 64, that is 29.9% of people are in that age bracket, and the next age bracket is 15 to 19, that is 21.5%. There is a general growth here that we've seen over the last, I'd say the mapping of the last 50 years, where the population sizes have increased considerably. Here's the general racial demography, where we have, the white loan percentage is at 76.5%, African American 7.5%, American Indian Alaskan Native is 0.2%, Asian alone is 6.7%, 6.8%, and then Hispanic or Latino make 12% of the population. Puerto Rican highlighted as almost 4.7%, and then other races, mixed races, 4.717 and 4.78. Language-wise, most of the population speaks English, and then almost 963, that almost 1,000 speak language other than English. So, and then disability, people, largest disability that we see is the ambulatory disability, that is at 656 people have reported having ambulatory difficulty. And then similarly, with an independent living difficulty, 618 people have reported independent living difficulty. Here's a quickly, this is the recreation plan. Charlton does not have an EJ population, but has Southbridge, which has some minority and income-based EJ criteria-based populations. This is a general map depicting draining of soils. So soils and geological features. We can see that quite a few places the soil is fairly well drained. We can also see wetlands demarcated in this map, if you look carefully. And then here we have a quick analysis of the various river watersheds and aquifers. A quick analysis of all the core habitat features. Dark green is the core habitat, and light green are the critical natural landscape features in Charlton. The pink dots are the certified vernal pools, and then the yellow dots are potential vernal pools. And then we see some priority habitats of rare species, which is towards the top and towards the right. This is the open space inventory, which kind of maps all the 61B land, Chapter 61B land and Chapter 61A land, Chapter 61 land generally. It also depicts ownership of land in terms of federal, state, county, municipal recreation, etc. And you can also see the major trails and conservation restrictions and agricultural preservation restriction lands in this map. So all that to say that a general analysis of parcel by parcel was conducted. After this secondary data was analyzed and these maps were created, the team put together a community survey which ran from July 24 to September 24. It was publicized through press releases, townwide emails, blasts, and targeted outreach to town boards and committees. It was also promoted digitally through Facebook and town website. Flyers and physical surveys were distributed at Old Home Day, that is Labor Day weekend, and Town Hall and Library. We received 601 responses, quite substantive. So some key findings from the survey responses was almost 19 people mentioned additional improved sideway walks around main roads for safe walking. Some of the key roads were mentioned by the people who commented. Others talked about comprehensive trail system development of trail systems. Updating ball fields was another thing that came up with open-ended survey responses, expanded playground next to the library, and then maintain current trails, and some additional parking spaces near the open space and recreation areas. She also mentioned a new swimming area or improved access to lakes for swimming. Other open-ended survey responses, which mentioned favorite open space and recreational assets. People talked about the Buffermill Lake area, new pickleball court, Cape and Hill Nature Sanctuary, Charlton's rural and agricultural character, Treehouse Brewery Trails, Fay Mountain Farm Trails and Pond. Some of the major themes that the survey that came up from the survey were residents are overall very supportive of the town protecting and improving open space areas, especially to provide passive recreational opportunities and to protect wildlife habitat and water quality. They want town to improve town walkability, including trail connections, multi-use hiking, biking wherever possible. Residents want the town to update existing recreation assets, for example, the playground behind the library and ball fields, while preserving Charlton's rural character. Unmet outdoor recreational needs include a splash pad, large park with many facilities, boat rentals, walking track. There were also mention of creating new recreation opportunities for older adults. So the 10-year OSRP action plan had the following goals. The goal 1 was land is preserved for open space, farming, and wildlife habitat. The objectives were increase collaboration to acquire and protect minimally developed land in Charlton, promote the preservation of prime agricultural, forestry, and wildlife habitat land, which are important to components of the town's character. And objective 3 here was maintain and develop bylaws that support open space preservation. Goal 2, surface water and groundwater are protected as clean and abundant resources. Over here, the key objectives were local planning efforts and regulations support the protection of water resources and improve awareness amongst residents and municipal staff of the importance of and how to protect water quality. Goal 3, the public has heightened awareness of and better access to high quality open space and recreational areas. The key objectives were improve awareness of open space, recreational, and water-based opportunities and resources among residents, maintain and increase access to existing recreational areas in accordance with current development standards, create additional recreational areas in Charlton to meet the needs of all residents, and increase access to open space and recreation areas through active transportation alternatives. So some of the select high priority action items are map parcels categorized as vacant by assessor's office, and evaluate if and how these lands connect to existing protected open spaces or contribute to future habitat corridor. This supports goal 1 and objective 1. Support and monitor the agricultural program at Fay Mountain Farm. Again, this supports goal 1, objective 1.2. Develop a water resource management plan that includes analyzing existing water infrastructure and developing actions for the improvement and expansion of municipal water infrastructure. This is goal 2, objective 2.1. Establish a standard signage system, map, and guidebook to identify open space and recreation facilities, their access points, parking availability, and other amenities. This is goal 3, objective 3.1. Then support the construction of a bandstand for community events at one of the recreational facilities. This is goal 3, objective 3.3. So next steps. We hope to receive the letters of review from the Planning Board, the Conservation Commission, the Recreation Commission, Select Board, and CMRPC. And then we'll submit the plan to DCS for review and conditional approval. Once we receive the plan back from DCS, we'll address the comments from the DCS and resubmit to receive final approval from DCS. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
We appreciate it. Any questions from the board? And I'm assuming tonight we have to take some actions to approve?
So Drew, would you like a motion from the board to approve the plan and approve a letter of support?
Yes, please.
Entertain a motion?
Yeah, so moved.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those.
Who creates the letter and who does the?
We'll create the letter and send it around for signature.
Okay. Excellent.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, it's unanimous, thank you. And we can make this available if it's not already on.
Yes, we'll have all the open space and rec documents online. There is actually a page online for the open space and rec plan.
Perfect, so those of you who want to read it more in depth, thank you. Thank you again to your whole committee for your commitment, we appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Have a wonderful day.
Well, I'll just email Andrew and follow up. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Seven.
Recess was requested to take that.
All right. Fine. Oh, go ahead.
Or you can just leave, 5-minute recess.
Okay.
All right, and then just gonna take a 2-minute recess. Recess is over. All right, okay, ready to resume our meeting. Thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda will be meeting with the planning board, update on ongoing activities, including the status of the master plan development.
Chairman Speaker had asked us to invite the planning board to update the board on ongoing activities of their department, including the status of master plan development. We had recently submitted a one-stop grant application to support the development of a master plan, so we could endeavor to establish a steering committee to drive the process when a determination on the grant is made. We anticipate that grant decision to be sometime around mid-October, but just want to have the planning board in to discuss their.
And I wanted to thank you for your patience tonight, Randy and Don. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And having
Thank you for
said
having
that,
us.
take it away.
Thank you for having us. So, originally, we sent out an RFP for, for professionals to help us update the new master plan. Originally, we only received one application from CMRPC, which wasn't necessarily bad. The planning board just felt that they had some variety to look at other applications. So we resubmitted the application and sent it out to a wider audience. And we've given them until September 16th to reply with their application so that we can start discussing it at our September 17th meeting, so we can get the process moving forward. First of choosing someone, and also possibly there's a grant opportunity that we might be able to use to help update the master plan. Currently, we have $50,000 set aside, which has actually been the big concern of the applicants, is whether it's going to be enough, to do a full-blown, revamp of the master plan. So we want to use that grant opportunity to hopefully give us more funds to help, do the update to the master plan. We intend to have not just a, minor review. We want to have a, full-blown update of the master plan. So the last master plan was updated in 2008, I believe, so we're several years behind on that, and I think it's gonna take substantial work to get it up to where we need to be. We have had additional interest in the RFP that we sent out, so we're hopeful that we'll have a number of bids and a number of options as we move forward. Look into that next week.
And when are those bids due back?
On the 16th, so before our next meeting, so a week from now.
We can review them on our 17th meeting.
It's on the agenda for that, so hopefully at that point, waiting to hear back from the grant, I'm not sure is timely enough for it, but we'll look at moving forward and choosing a provider to help us with that sometime probably within the next week or two.
Steering committee would be formed eventually? Mr.
Yeah,
President?
so that's exactly right. So what we'll do is we'll form a master plan committee. Of course, invites will go to other boards and townspeople that want to join in and help out there. We're hoping to get some interest from other businesses and other townspeople and the Economic Development Committee and other committees. So that's planning to start as soon as we figure out who's going to help us.
And typically, is it every 10 years, or did that could
Typically, every 10 years is what is suggested, so we're a little bit behind on this one. We've had a busy few years with a lot going on in town, so it kind of, it just kept getting slipped off, but now it's one of our main focuses. There's a lot of interest in pushing this quickly.
Yeah, our intent is to start with the subcommittees, get some input from various, people and organizations to work with the master plan, and then once we get some feedback from everyone, then we'll start moving forward to actually compile what would be the new master plan.
This sounds like it's a large task and well worth it.
It's a project.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but is there anything that comes to mind that we may need to know about or hear about before the master plan gets done, or is there anything?
As far as the select board or?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of information out there once the committees are formed and the discussions begin, but what we really need is a facilitator, and that's what we put the RFP out for, so.
Yeah.
That's usually the way that we start with that. They'll come in, they'll facilitate the meetings, they'll organize the meetings, they'll get the questions going, and we'll get some.
Yeah.
It's using what we have currently for master plan, but updating where it needs to be. There was a lot of work that was put into the previous one. I don't know if you've seen it or looked at it, but there's a lot that goes into that, so.
Yeah.
So that it'll be interesting to see how we've done along those ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have any questions? Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah.
So we, you know, we do have a lot going on right now with trying to fit into the state's new facility siting plans for solar and
Well, that's what I
battery
think I was
storage
getting at,
systems.
there's
So,
something urgent.
those are other urgent matters that we have going on.
There's a lot of activity in that area then?
Yeah. So there's new laws that
I'm
recently passed
State
by the
or
government, by the state, that in many cases for the large utility size solar battery plants take the oversight away from the towns and put it in the states. And it's kind of similar to what we had with gas liquefaction plant. It puts in charge of the energy facility siting board and they kind of mandate where and how it goes in. So we're working with the state to better understand that and see if we can mold some of our laws to help, some of our bylaws to help mitigate some of those potential issues.
Possibility of that, do you think, or?
We've been approached by several large companies in the past few years looking to do large-scale battery storage right now, because that's where the incentives are.
Yeah.
The incentives aren't in solar anymore.
Yeah.
So those are kind of getting pushed to the side, and it's battery storage now.
One of the things that's happening currently is the state considering taking the control away from the town and having the electronic facility siting board review them, which would mean similar to the LNG plant, they would be able to bypass zoning within the town to, because there's a big push for green energy in the solar fields. What's been happening is that they're overproducing for the infrastructure, so the biggest thing lately is battery storage facilities, and they're looking to, not require them to have town approval anymore and go with the electronic facility siting board, which we're like giving our input on that. We don't agree with that, but the state will do what the state wants to do, so, because there's a big push for, green energy at the state level, so.
Yeah. But are they, does the state only get involved in large projects, or even if it's a small, like 3 acres?
So the way it's set up now is anything over, I think it's 50 megawatts.
Yeah.
Anything
Oh, so
over
that's
50
pretty-
megawatts, so
that's
these are
substantial.
big, large-scale utility size projects. It could take up several hundred acres.
Yeah.
Because the rule of thumb is
The latest thing is like.
so much an acre?
People wanna build like 100+ megawatt facilities, large.
Oh, yeah.
30, 40
So-
acres. 30, 40 acres for that.
Yeah,
or something
oh,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And batteries.
And batteries, well, batteries are a little smaller footprint, but cover the whole plethora of other issues and potential hazards.
Try to
If-
stay ahead of that as.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, so,
Is there a push to put batteries where we already have solar?
yes, a lot of the solar, I can't say a lot, a few of the solar farms in town have already petitioned for batteries or have been granted battery access, but a lot of these are going in not near solar sites, but just near a grid point, where they pull the power off the grid at low peak and then put it back on the grid at high peak. And make money that way,
Big capacitor.
basically.
It's all out in the country.
Yeah.
And since we have a lot of land in Charlton and a lot of landowners that are willing to
Yeah, oh, yeah.
put those in, we get hit with quite a few, so.
Well, thank you for being here tonight, for giving us the update. Again, the planning board, you drive the bus with the
We're trying.
master plan, and we appreciate that. And
I'm trying. We'll give you more updates once we get all the signals in.
Yeah.
again, thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Alright, down here. Yep, absolutely. All right, we're gonna move to the nuisance dog hearing on a dog named Chip, owned by Chris Power, 39 Sunny Depot Road. Andrew?
Nuisance dog hearing on Chip and Dinah, owned by Chris Power. Please find attached public hearing guidelines for dog complaints for your use during the hearing, which outlines the procedure for the hearing. A letter hand-delivered to Mr. Chris Power by the Charlton Police Department with the date and time of the hearing. 14 pages of reports, photos, and fines by ACO Emily Sears. 2-page complaint form filed by Nicholas Schwanier. And a copy of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, nuisance or dangerous dogs, orders to remedial actions, appeal, and violation of order. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, once a complaint is received that a dog is a nuisance by reasons of vicious disposition or excessive barking or other disturbance, the selectman shall investigate or cause to be investigated such complaint, including an examination on oath of the complainant, and may make such order concerning the restraint or disposal of such dogs as may be deemed necessary. It is that order that the owner may then appeal to district court. So,
I'll open the,
so if you want to open it, first thing we'll do is ask that anybody who is present to speak on the matter, please sign in on this sheet over here. Once everybody signs in, then I will swear in those that will be testifying.
all right, so I'm gonna open the public hearing. It is 8:30, and this public hearing is called pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, on the complaint of nuisance dogs owned by Chris Power, 39 Senate Depot Road, Charlton, Mass. And now, once everyone has signed in, I will read what the complaint. So everyone, again, if you're going to speak on this matter, you must sign in, and you must take the oath. And now
Alright, you signed in, please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony I'm about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, acknowledging this oath under the pains and penalties of perjury, and so help me God. Madam Chair.
Thank you. So now I will read the complaint letter. It was dated August 27 to Mr. Chris Power regarding nuisance dog hearing Tuesday, September 9, 2025 at 7:15 p.m. Dear Mr. Power, pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, you are hereby notified that the Charlton Select Board will hold a hearing on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025 at 7:15 p.m. at the Charlton Town Hall, Meeting Room 1, 37 Main Street, Charlton, Mass. To address complaints of nuisance dog named Chip and Dinah, owned by you. You are requested to be present to give testimony on a matter before the board. Please confirm your attendance by calling this office no later than Thursday, September 4th, 2025 by 5 p.m. Sincerely, our town administrator. All right, we'll ask that the animal control officer to come forward and give her report, please.
I'm very redundant, so I apologize. On March 3rd, 2023, I received a call from Nicholas Schwanier from 37 Center Depot Road, reporting that his neighbor's dogs were loose in his yard. Mr. Schwanier stated that they were from his neighbor Heather Johnson at 39 Center Depot Road, and that they appeared to be a German Shorthair Pointer and a Golden Retriever. I contacted Heather via phone in regards to the loose dogs, as well as sent a warning letter. Heather returned my phone call stating that she has one Golden Retriever named Charlie May, and the other two German Shorthair Pointers, Dinah and Chip, were visitors. She also stated that she had an invisible fence and plans to utilize that going forward. On March 16th, 2023, I received another call from Mr. Schwanier reporting that the dogs were in his yard again. I tried to contact Heather Johnson, but received a call from her boyfriend, Chris Power, who stated that he was not happy with the warnings that I sent Heather Johnson regarding the dogs, as they were only there visiting. I was on maternity leave from April 2023 to July 2023 and unable to locate any calls that came in between those months. On October 7th, 2023, I received another call from Mr. Schwanier reporting that Chip was in his yard again. On December 14th, 2023, I received a text message from Mr. Schwanier stating that Dinah was in his yard on October 19th, 2023 and November 11th, 2023 with pictures attached. On December 20th, 2023, I received a call from dispatch that the German Shorthair Pointer Dinah was in Mr. Schwanier's yard and in the road. Before arriving, she was safely back home. While doing barn inspections in February of 2024, Mr. Schwanier made me aware that a Great Pyrenees color white was in his yard at the end of January of 2024, but Ms. Johnson was able to catch him quickly. Mr. Schwanier stated that this was a newer dog to the resident, but was only there on occasion. On February 20th, 2024, Mr. Schwanier sent me another text message with photos of Chip in his yard again. On February 27th, 2024 and March 1st, 2024, Mr. Schwanier sent me another text message with photos of the Great Pyrenees in his yard, where the owners retrieved him quickly. I was on maternity leave from October 2024 to January 2024 and was unable to locate any calls that came in between those months. On Thursday, June 3rd, 2025, Charlton Police Dispatch called to report an injured dog lying on the road in front of 39 Center Depot Road. They also dispatched police. Kelly, my assistant, arrived to find two police officers holding a Golden Retriever who had been laying on the side of the road, appearing to be injured. Upon a brief examination, the dog seemed to be healthy and not injured. They went up to the house to see if the dog lived there, and a man and a woman came around the house with another Golden Retriever and a German Shorthair Pointer. They stated that the female Golden that was on the road was also their dog, Maisie. The woman identified herself as Heather Johnson and gave my assistant Kelly her phone number. She stated that they have an electric fence, but Maisie was just spayed and they didn't have the electric collar on her at the time. Not all the dogs were licensed at this time, so she called Miss Johnson, and Miss Johnson said that she would go and license the rest of the dogs. All of the dogs have subsequently been licensed. On July 5th, 2025, Mr. Schwanier sent me a text message with a picture of Chip in his yard the day prior, July 4th, 2025, stating that this was the second time in the same week that Chip had been in his yard. July 18th, 2025, Mr. Schwanier sent me more pictures of Chip in his yard. July 25th, 2025, Mr. Schwanier sent me more pictures of Chip in his yard that occurred on July 24th of 2025. On July 26th, 2025, Mr. Schwanier sent me another picture of Chip in his yard. On August 2nd, 2025, I received more photos from Mr. Schwanier of Chip in his yard dating August 1st, 2025, and again on August 4th, 2025. It is with my understanding that Mr. Schwanier has tried to address this issue with Chris Power on multiple occasions, but the issue has not been resolved. Currently, I have cited Heather Johnson and Chris Power accordingly to the most recent events with Chip and Dinah for running at large under the Charlton bylaws. I have also notified them of the leash law and the nuisance dog law. More recently, on August 21st, 2025, Mr. Schwanier sent me a text message with a picture of Dinah in his yard. As of September 8th, 2025, there have been no other complaints from Mr. Schwanier, but the citations that were given to Chris Power have gone unpaid.
Thank you. Now we'll entertain the complainant testimony. State your name, please.
Emily Swanier.
Nicholas Swanier.
Thank you.
Do we tell you stuff?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, we didn't understand.
It's okay, yeah, it's your turn to talk.
Sure, this has just been an ongoing problem for the last 3+ years. I previously would talk to Heather about it. For the first year or so, she would get right on it, no problem. It was typically her dog at that point, but it was a puppy, I understood that. But since Chris moved in, it's been an issue, and it's been ongoing, and it's been getting worse. I don't know what else to do. I try to talk to him, and it turns into an argument. At this point, we're not allowed over there. I'm just coming to you guys to try to find a solution here. They've had this electric fence for 3 years, and clearly it does not work. So, it's not just the dogs at this point, it's dogs, it's goats, it's pigs. There were goats in our yard a few weeks ago eating our raspberries to the ground. I'm just trying to find a solution here.
It's very frustrating. Trying to have conversations don't really get us anywhere. We have fenced in parts that we believe they're jumping through the yard to get into. It doesn't do anything, they just find a different spot.
I mean, short of me fencing my whole yard in, there's nothing else I can do.
I don't think it's right that we have a fenced-in yard for our dogs. One of our dogs is not dog-friendly. We have vocalized this multiple times. We do not want a dog fight. I don't need to deal with a dog fight with our 2 dogs. I also have a 2-year-old. I don't need to deal with that. I think at this point, it has gone really ridiculous.
The other issue is they're over there harassing our chickens at this point. I can't let my chickens out anymore like I used to. I just, it's our yard, we just kinda want their stuff in their own yard, you know what I mean? So,
We just want our yard to ourselves. We understand randomly things happen, we get it, but as you've heard from the report, it's not randomly things happening anymore. It's every couple days, it's not.
Thank you. If you're done, we'll ask questions after, we just need to get everyone's.
No, that's fine.
Everyone needs to talk and then we'll be opening up for questions. Thank you very much. Now we'll have testimony from other people who would like to come up and speak. Now's your opportunity. Just please again state your name.
How are you? My name's Christopher Power at 39 Center Depot.
Heather Johnson, 39 Center.
Proceed.
I sold my house last year, and the dog, I've been dating Heather, moved in with her, full-time. That's when my dogs came full-time to Charlton. There is a degree of animosity between the neighbors. It was a little better at one time or another, I'm actually related to Emily, she's my niece. I feel this is kind of more personal towards me than it is about the dogs, but that's aside from the point. We do have livestock, we have a little bit of a homestead going, we have chickens ourselves, we have ducks, we raise turkeys, we have goats. We had some pigs, but they're now gone, they're taken care of. The German Shorthair Pointer that we also raised, we just whelped and adopted out a litter of puppies to good homes. So we're very experienced with dogs. They're good dogs. They want to be close to us. They're not seldom out of my sight for long. And some of the things that they were referring to, Dinah was a puppy as well. And Charlie was a puppy, Macy was a puppy, Chip was a little bit older, and he's kind of in charge of them all. And he's never out of my sight for long. So if anything is going into their yard, you might beat a mark, and I'm not excusing it. We have had issues with our electric fence, the dog blitzes through it sometimes, taking off after coyotes or bears or whatever other nuisance we might have in the yard, we've encountered quite a bit. I don't know if they've ever free ranged their chickens, that's not for me to say, but they have a GSP as well. And with a GSP, you're not gonna free range birds because their job is to technically kill them. At this point, I have my own dogs in our own yard and they hurt the birds. They no longer wanna kill them, it's a different story. I don't wanna get off too track, but myself and Heather, we raised families in separate towns. Had different families before, you know, we had our own families in separate towns. I've never had an issue like this in all my years, as a dog owner. Heather, you know, we had neighbors. I've never had an issue with neighbors like this that I can deal with. I talk about communication. There is a great degree of passive aggressiveness that I just can't deal with. So communicating with them has been tough. And one time that I did call the dog officer, it wasn't to complain about the complaint. It was to ask about information regarding where the dog entered the yard because I wanted to solve it. You know, I'm also a dog trainer. I need information. I didn't get a call back that I recall, but you know, all these dates and stuff, it seems like it's stacked against me and my dogs, but we have had a working situation earlier on with the neighbors, but it's deteriorated, and I don't expect it to get any better. There is a situation with the boundary that I have some photographs. I can send them forward to you, or I can present them some other time or some way. I don't know how this works, but there's a stone wall boundary between the properties. And there's not a definitive line. Heather owns over the boundary. They have property, their property on her property. She bought the home in 2021. 2020? 2022. 2022. All the boundary markers are still present except where they abut their property, the neighbor's property. So they basically removed and did what they wanted with the boundary, so clearly.
I recently had the land surveyed because we were looking at putting a foundation on, and the surveyor said specifically to me that, he asked me if I was aware that his trailer was on my property. And I said I had a hunch, but I didn't, whatever, it didn't bother me. I was like, whatever, it's fine. But, you know, with this situation, we're clearly gonna need to put a fence up, so we're gonna need them to move their things so that we can put the fence up.
Move
The
We
trailer,
need a clear view of the boundary. The markers were moved, so we don't try to encroach on their yard, but knowing that her property is over the wall and in plain view of their backyard and their home, we don't wanna really infringe. I mean, they're dog lovers, we're dog lovers, you know, my dogs have no intent to upset them, and I think they know that, but in appearance, where quite possibly the dog could be on our property still. Very well, but well, that's here nor there. I haven't seen information to show where the dog was, and if he's just over there marking, potentially. So there is another issue that we have to address with the neighbor, that they're encroached on Heather's property. And once we can resolve that, we can take steps to put clear boundaries for our dogs.
a fence.
When you're done, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much all
Okay.
the share.
So, is there anyone else here who wants to speak? We have someone else, so they need to sit. Thank you. Again, questions will be asked momentarily.
We have to sign.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't. Okay, sign in and we'll swear you in.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Sign in the rules. I'll
Okay.
sign his name,
Yeah,
just takes a minute, just so.
Do you guys swear on the same things that I told them all earlier?
Yeah.
Alright, guys.
So you're welcome to have a seat and state your name and address, please. Thank you.
My name is Raymond A. Burlingame. I live at 57 Center Depot Road in Charlton. And I grew up in that house. And I actually owned that house after my parents passed away for a while. And I sold it to Nicholas Swenya, my grandson. And there's always been stone walls there. They have never been moved, and the stone walls are the boundaries. And all of the stuff that they have is inside their property on the other side of the stone walls. There is nothing there that is on the other land that they own now. I don't know how they can say the boundaries have been moved because the stone walls have never been touched. And like I say, I grew up there. I've lived on that same street my entire life. And I'm 78 years old now. I don't know what they're saying, that their stuff is on their property. It is not, none of it.
Thank you.
My name is Carrie Burlingame. I actually raised Nick in the house he's in now. I own that part of the time too. Boundaries has never been moved. One of the biggest problems is the dogs go on Nick's land. The goats are on Nick's land, and Chris has become very threatening at times. You know, can be not very nice. And, you know, he's claiming he's only been there for 1 year, and that's not true at all. He's been there for at least 3 years, living there. And it's not getting any better. His dogs are over there and they, you know, they're trying to get into the chickens. The pigs have been into the chickens' coops, you know, along with the goats. So it's not getting any better, and the property boundaries have not changed. You know, I grew up at 57 Center Depot Road and then raised my kids at 37 Center Depot Road with Nicholas now. So there's nothing been changed to boundaries, and that has all been surveyed before Nick bought it. So.
Thank you. And are you done? I don't want to.
Yeah, I think so. It's just, you know, even the house I'm in now, I've been there 58 years now. And I built that house with the help of my family in 1967. And I bought the land from Warren Miller. That was part of the farm, the Miller farm. It was cut off by the Mass Pike. That was part of his property. Now Tommy Miller owns the farm and runs it, what's left of it.
We appreciate your testimony. And we just want to see, does anyone else need to speak tonight regarding this matter? Any more testimony? All right, now, I don't see anyone coming forward, so I will open, if the board wishes to ask questions. Pete?
I mean, there's obviously a lot of dynamics going on here between the neighbors. I just want to refocus what we're looking at. We're looking at Chip and Dinah and if they're running at large and at other properties. I mean, there's a lot of other things with chickens and goats that, I mean, it could play into the dynamic, but it's not what we're looking at. We have pictures, we have ACO testimony, so I mean, it's kind of cut and dry, in my opinion.
It is, except that, so this chain link fence that I'm looking at a couple of pictures, that's obviously your fence?
No, that's our fence. That's our fence.
Cause I heard you say, why would I wanna put up a fence? That's what I thought it
Well,
was.
there's a small section of our yard that's fenced in for our dogs.
And it runs the whole length, the dividing part, or?
No.
No.
The chain link fence you're probably looking at, there's an opening in the walls, and we put a fence up because that's where their dogs were originally coming through. So we put a fence up there so they wouldn't be coming through there.
We've sat through half a dozen of these, and, all I can say is that this one is relatively calm. There isn't, no, seriously, I mean,
It's not dangerous.
Well, it hasn't gotten to the dangerous point, but I could see very easily where it could. And I think it's a little bit of, these are difficult because we all love dogs, we all love animals, you know? Let me ask you a question though, do your dogs get along?
No.
The dogs don't get along?
They've never met, because they chain their
Retta
dogs
has met
pretty much,
at
so.
one point,
Alright.
has met Charlie.
And Charlie and Retta used to play together,
They did.
so.
And then I had a
Doesn't seem to be a
conversation with
chance of
you
that,
and
because
said
they're
different
that my other dog was getting upset about it. And you understood.
Yeah, it's fine.
I just think this, the things we can do are limited. The things you can do are to solve it, if you two can work it out and figure it out.
Well, we're clearly gonna have to put up a fence, which means that we're gonna have to resurvey and put the stakes up, and if anything's.
Yeah, but that's part of the, it's part of the responsibility of dog ownership. If there's a problem, it is your responsibility. It's not their responsibility to keep your dog.
I didn't say it was.
As long as you agree with that part of it, that's your 3/4 of the way there, then.
Oh, we love our dogs.
Yeah, of course,
Same
they
as
love
they
theirs.
love theirs, yeah, and they're right to peace, and our right to peace, you know? That's why we're in Charlton.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We share that value, not much more.
Yeah, can I would, I just, one question. The recommendation from our animal control officer is, I know it's in here, but if you could just.
I just said that it's my understanding that they have an electric fence, but are not using it to their advantage.
We do use the electric fence all the
If
time.
we didn't state, you know, we maintain 4 collars. The collars break down, we replace them on a regular. Sometimes we don't know, but we replace the batteries monthly, and we take responsibility for that, but we have to maintain them, and we do. It's costly, but we keep them on the dog. Sometimes, like when Macy,
Got spayed,
Spayed.
she had her operation.
we had
took
it off of her, we didn't put it back on. I don't know what she was thinking, why she went near the road.
She was
I
on
think
medication.
She was on medication, she was attracted by some landscapers. Last thing we want is her near the road, you know, so
And she hasn't gone anywhere since.
we resolved that with her. She's not an issue, but
Were you finished?
Yeah, so I just said that I recommend that they use the electric fence and to make sure that the fence is in working order, you know, making sure the collars are charged and that they have proper batteries in them, making sure the barrier isn't broken at any place, which I know can be difficult, but I just have a question. It seems as if when you got the hearing notice, it stopped, but what has anything
nothing
changed?
changed.
Nothing has changed.
There was one day that we got, I have the violations here, I do intend to pay them, it's just, this was coming up, so I just kinda held on to them. Because I kinda have issues with, you know, not knowing a lot of the details about the dogs. You guys have pictures of the dogs on the land, none of those were shared with us.
I wish
That-
they were,
that
just
might have
so I
been-
knew where they were.
That might have been part of the solution that I could solve, because
It was one
it
day they
tells me
weren't
a
even
lot.
home, and we got a call or a text that they were on the property. They must have saw it on the Ring camera, but by the time they texted us or called us, he was already back. I was like, he's right here, he's right in front of me. So I don't even know how long he's hanging out
I
over
think
there.
I think he goes down there
Not
tomorrow.
that it matters.
I think he goes down
I
there tomorrow.
understand it doesn't matter, but my point is, that by no means is the dog hanging out over there.
Trying to tunnel into their.
There's some
chicken.
days that the dog has been in the yard for like 20, 30 minutes.
But just, let me just put this back on track if I may. So board members, our job here, we can dismiss the complaint, we can declare the dog a nuisance, and if we do so, then we can give the ruling regarding what action should be taken to remedy the situation. So what are the wishes of the board, and if you want, certainly if you want to ask them more questions, you certainly can do so.
The next, whether a nuisance dog or not, the next fine would be, the fines start going up. Third offense, second offense, third offense, fourth offense. Where are we at now? We're at
3.
3. Oh, sorry, we're at the max.
So, the one question, I mean, there's 2 dogs named here, but there seems like there's a lot more dogs in play than 2.
It's because we have a lot of
Well, I was
friends that
thinking that
visit with
too.
dogs. My daughter has a service dog, the Great Pyrenees. When he was a puppy and he was being trained, that's when he got into the yard, but that was well over a year ago. And
But what
that hasn't happened since.
What we're saying is, these are for specific dogs, these dogs will be labeled nuisance dogs. It's not addressing the behaviors that are happening with the other dogs.
And Dinah hasn't been, when's the last time Dinah's been over there? I don't even think it's been this year.
She just had 11 puppies, and she's been under close supervision, and with her dog, where they're pups, and we just, like I said, we just adopted them out.
So if it was this year, which one of the violations was it Dinah this year?
So August 21st was the last time Dinah was at the yard, so there was a no violation.
So I go back to the board recommendation.
The fact that this has been going on for a couple of years, and honestly, the fact that you haven't paid the fine doesn't really look like you're being
Just a
cooperative
month,
to
I mean,
anybody.
I'm gonna pay them, I just,
Yeah, no, yeah, I know, but it's,
there's a lot of details to some of those other occasions too, I mean, like, there was dumped guts from, from some bird hunts and stuff, and like, attractants put out, just, it's impossible. It's impossible to deal with some things, but, we make every attempt to keep our dogs and let them have their peace. It's not our intent to screw up anybody's, business or day, it's clearly not, it's clearly not.
you're aware that if we do declare the dog a nuisance dog, that we can put conditions on there that you read that part of it, have you been informed?
I've read some of the state and the local bylaws.
It can get pretty serious, yeah, then you're, it's kinda like, you're in the.
I'm a disabled veteran, these dogs are part of my livelihood too.
Where I'm going with that, it should be able to be worked out without having to do that.
I would hope so.
Well, it's,
Yeah, but it's
looking
been,
back at it though, I don't.
it's been going on for a long
Yeah,
time,
it
and I
has.
feel like we need to do something because it's just been too
Well,
long,
like I
too
said,
many
my
times.
solution would be to put an actual physical fence up on that side of the property.
There's also issues with the other neighbor on the other side of the property, but they did not show up today.
They haven't been over there at all.
Obviously, we could say the electric fence is not working, so the next step for immediate remediation would be they would be on a leash at all times until there's a better barrier in place, because the electric fence isn't working. Whether it's the collar, whether they're not trained, who knows what it is, the end result is they're outside the perimeter. And this is happening, whether it's for 10 seconds or 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. There's a leash law, there's a leash bylaw, and there's clear evidence of violation. I mean, how are you gonna fix it? That's my question. How are you gonna fix it tomorrow?
We could put a fence up tomorrow, make one out of pallets, we do it all the time.
Think run out of pallets?
Yeah,
We have,
a pallet
we have
fence.
fencing at the ready too.
Like, and we have fencing at the ready, so we can put a fence very easily. We put a fence all the time, we have livestock fencing at the ready.
If that's your solution, this was August 27th, why didn't you do it then before this hearing and said it was done?
It's a lot easier.
You're coming up with stuff now, I don't understand
We
why.
have to
Honestly,
resolve the
because-
issue with the boundary, I know there is some other questions, but we have, satellite imagery don't mean anything, but we do have it from the surveyor's mouth, that there is a little bit of a discretion there. And if the boundary markers weren't molested, we'd be able to tell where
So
our
then you
fence
can't
would
put
go.
up a fence
But
tomorrow
that's
if you
gonna be
still don't know.
hearsay, but we do need a new survey.
Well, we can put the fence up before
If-
the wall.
If we
We
write
can
it,
do our best to keep them in with a fence, set back in our property. property. We can move the electric fence as well, because that does a lot. It actually does work, it just, you know,
If we write a condition and we say a 25-foot leash, we don't care where the property line is. And I don't think the property line had really anything to do with it. The dog was obviously, if it's off a foot or two, that's irrelevant to where these pictures are.
So we have a recommendation from our ACO.
Yeah.
We could do that, make a motion contingent, agree with the recommendation. And
if there was no buffer
There was a
between the
problem,
two
we'll
properties,
check
the
it
dogs
out.
would be agitated all the time. And that's really why they're upset, because their dogs get agitated by the visible presence of our dogs. That's been stated to us before, so like, if they're up and down the wall and they're seen by their dogs are upset, they're upset at us, and that's kind of what happens regardless of the boundary.
So I would make a motion that to give them the opportunity to fix their problems, 90-day continuance, any further reported incidents, and we move for, make a nuisance vote. So if any ACO's called out there any more times, any more pictures, we can vote on it and apply it.
But we'd have to deem nuisance.
Not for continuance.
Let's continue. Okay, you good with that? Can we do that?
Yeah, you're just continuing the hearing pending any further issues.
You good with that?
I'm wondering if 90 days is too long. If you can put up a fence really quick.
No, I'm just saying any further incidents and then they're deemed nuisance.
Yeah, I know.
There's the golden retriever, there's the Pyrenees, there's.
Is the ground frozen in 90 days? I mean, can we make it 60? That's more.
No, I'm just saying there's any future incidences within 90 days that it's a nuisance dog. I mean, because this is.
Yeah, you don't want a nuisance dog.
No, we wanna do it right though, too. You know, we want our peace back. We don't wanna be, habitually, bothered either.
I
We want
just
them to
fear,
have their peace, we want our peace.
I just fear if
We
we
want
do
our
it for
dogs.
Chip or Dana, it's gonna be one of the other dogs that is visiting or living there that's
Those
gonna
dogs haven't come through at all in a long time.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was
The
that?
golden retrievers haven't
The
come
Great
over at
Pyrenees
all.
is no longer at the home either, she lives full time at her father's.
I do agree with that. Charlie has not been in our yard for, I don't know,
And I don't know
year and a half.
if Macy's ever been over there.
Macy has never been.
I'm trying to offer some leniency here and to give,
Right, I'm just saying the
give you guys a
golden
chance to
retrievers
work
have
together,
never-
get
I
it
know, I
done
understand.
without applying a label. I mean,
I
we could
understand.
take a vote and just do nuisance dog and be done with it, or you guys can work with us, try to work it out as neighbors, and, next complaint, there goes a leniency. I don't, that's my recommendation. I don't know.
I mean, we're fine with them putting up a fence if that's gonna keep their dogs out of our yard, if the pallets are gonna work and they're not gonna jump over it, or, that's fine.
But none of that means none of that matters to us. Whatever you do for the fence, another complaint, another picture, and then, that's different story. I mean,
Okay.
that's.
But we're not gonna wait to the end of those 90 days. It'll be probably the next meeting, our next meeting following if there is an incident following that incident. We're not gonna wait till day 95. Point is, and we'll just say that verbally, or actually we'll put it down.
Want to vote to
Huh?
continue?
Yeah, what about continue?
Yeah, continue based on that, though, based on what we just said. So I don't know if it's a fence or a leash. Fence sounds like it's reasonable for you to do in a period of time. Do you think that will work? There's no holes
It's
in
up to
between the
them, though.
pallets?
The
Yeah.
end result is.
It's really, it's up to you, because a nuisance dog, then it's just,
Did you wanna make the motion with the?
Make a motion to continue for 90 days, pending any further incidents. We visit.
Second?
oh, second.
Motion and second, any further discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
So we come back and see you in 90 days and
Yeah.
answer to, or just we'll see if there's a problem? Like,
You'll be
Only
sent a second, you'll be
if
sent
there was
another
a problem,
notice of another hearing.
gotcha.
Yeah, if it's pretty much, we won't be asking you for a solution, we'll come up with one.
I get
Right.
You have to do anything. That's all right. All right, thank you, and thank you too for your patience tonight. It's been a long meeting, we know.
Alright,
I am totally,
let's move on.
yeah,
Alright,
we're moving on.
first action item, road layout, public meeting for Hyde Road and Downing Lane. The board has received a request from the planning board to put the acceptance of Hyde Road and Downing Lane on the special town meeting warrant. The board must hold a public meeting and vote to approve the layout as shown on the meets and bounds plan. Once approved, the vote approving the layout must be filed with the town clerk, who within 10 days must record the description and book kept for this purpose. This needs to be done at least 7 days in advance of any town meeting action on the question of acceptance of the ways. It should also be noted that all abutters have been notified of the public meeting scheduled for tonight. The planning board recommends approval of the layout. Should the board approve the layout of Hyde Road and Downing Lane, the vote to do so will be filed.
Okay, now I have to read notice of public meeting, right? All right, so the notice of public meeting dated August 28, 2025. Charlton Select Board will hold a public meeting on their intention to lay out Hyde Road and Downey Lane on Tuesday, September 9, 2025, at the Charlton Town Hall, Meeting Room 1, 37 Main Street, Charlton, Mass. Copy of the proposed plan and legal description is available for viewing in the Select Board office between the hours of 7:30 a.m., 5 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should appear on the date specified or submit concerns in writing. Randy?
So the planning board is, seeking your recommendation from the, board of selectmen to support the acceptance of Hyde Road and Downing Lane. Unfortunately, the highway supervisor is out sick today, but I've been email contacted that he also supports the, recommendation for the road acceptance to be done at public meeting for both Downing Lane and Hyde Road, and there is for detention basins within the development, also the road department would be responsible for clearing out typically once or twice a year. So they're seeking the board's selectmen's recommendation support accepting both Downing Lane and Hyde Road.
All right, thank you. Do I have, are you done, Randy? Any recommendations or motions?
This is all signed off and everybody else is already.
Yes, we had 4 abutters come in just to take a look at the plans. None had any questions, comments, or concerns, so.
Is anyone else here to speak on this matter?
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to support as written.
Second? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to support as written. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, passes it unanimous. Thank you. All right. Back to action items.
Yeah, special town meeting, proposed warrant review draft special town meeting requests. So attach, I include the calendar and a draft of all the town meeting warrant items that we've received so far. So most of them are housekeeping articles, just to go through them real quick. We have appropriation of funds of unpaid bills of a prior fiscal year, inter and interdepartmental transfers and or appropriations for the FY 26 budget, amendments to the FY 26 budget, miscellaneous capital and related contracts, transfer to and from stabilization funds. The next one would be to amend, or the next 2 are related to the town clerk ballot initiative. So the first is to amend the town bylaw Article 1, Section 51, essentially changing the reference from town clerk from an elected position, and then Article 7 would be to change Article 150-2 to putting town clerk in as an appointed position and the term of said appointment. Article 8 is being presented by the Historical Commission. It is a repeal and replacement of the current historic district bylaws. The full text is included in the warrant. Article 9 is on petition of the fire chief to accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 32, Section 4.2B, and MGL, Chapter 32, 4.2B and 1/2, allowing permanent and intermittent and call firefighters to be credited with full-time service for the purpose of calculating retirement benefits. Article 10 is to exempt municipal buildings as prohibited areas pursuant to Section 124 of Chapter 135 of the Acts 2024. This would vote to exempt the town administrative building offices from being classified as prohibited areas for the possession of firearms. Article 11, as just outlined, was the acceptance of Hyde Road and Downing Lane as public ways. And right now, Article 12 we have is a duplicate of Article 10, but was submitted as a citizen's petition. Really, the only difference between the two is that Article 10 was reviewed by our legal counsel with language provided. If we proceed with the select board sponsoring an article using the language from our counsel, the moderator would simply request that the meeting bypass Article 12.
Okay. Ours will come up first anyways.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
so it just, so it's.
Also included is a draft of the capital improvement plan, which has been submitted to the finance committee for review. Obviously, the second item will be removed for the board's action tonight, but that will go before finance committee next Wednesday, and then back before you guys, the final recommendation. And also the projected amendments to the FY26 budget.
Any questions?
Yeah,
So we have to vote to close?
my screen went blank, that's why now I'm flipping through Bosch's papers.
I need a motion.
Smart.
So we have a motion to close, do I have a second?
Second, closing, yeah.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Special town meeting warrant is closed. Thank you, Andrew.
All right. Last section.
Oh, the last one, right, the property. Where?
Trumbull Church.
House numbering? All right.
All right.
Action items, house numbering change request, Andrew?
All right, in review of pending building permit applications, issues related to the numbering of addresses at 77 E. Bailey's Road and 98 Old Worcester Road were identified when assigning new street numbers. Attaches a request from Building Commissioner Curtis Meskis outlining the need to address the street numbering issue per the town's street numbering policy in accordance with Chapter 115 of the Charlton bylaws. In the event the town of Charlton recognizes the need to change the address or numbers or street number or name of a property after it has already been established, the select board shall hold a public hearing on the proposed change in address. Notice shall be published, certified mail notice shall be sent to all affected households at least 14 days prior to the public hearing. The select board shall take vote whether or not to approve the proposed change. Said vote shall occur after the public hearing and shall not take effect until 90 days after the vote. And should the board agree to consider engaging a street numbering change, a public hearing will be scheduled for a future meeting. Commissioner Meskis is present, is scheduled to present the street numbering issue this evening. That was the start of the conversation.
Good evening, Mr. Meskis.
Good evening.
Welcome.
So we did develop a street numbering policy. We have done street address changes before. Our policy is, as Mr. Gola stated, that there will be a hearing. We have asked both of these people for voluntary cooperation in changing their street number. One person is opposed and has been offered the chance to offer alternate suggestions that fell within the policy and cannot come with anything suitable. The other has said, yes, I'll change my street number. We had the option of giving that person 2 numbers, but the formal process is that a hearing needs to be scheduled. And the ask right now tonight is to schedule a hearing before the Board of Selectmen on October 14th to change these 2 numbers.
So we're just looking for the hearing. Nothing else tonight.
Correct.
Wishes of the board.
I motion to set a public hearing on the street numbering issue.
Second? We have a
Second.
motion and a second, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 The motion passes unanimously, and we have that here. Thank you,
We will-
thank you for your patience.
Now, so we will work with the administrator and town council to ensure that we do this properly and with as minimal impact as we can, but it is a public safety issue when we don't want to be numbering lots A and B.
Yeah, no, yeah, and they understand that in the whole, nobody likes change, but that's.
We will visit this issue again further in the future, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a long time away, because there are other issues, but these are immediate issues because of new house construction.
Okay, thank you. And just buried my agenda. All right, town administrator report, Andrew.
All right, just a quick summary on some of the projects. So fire substation, construction of the site, retaining wall and erection of steel structure began last week. Underground utility work is ongoing around the site, and exterior framing is scheduled to begin within the next 2 weeks, so things are going up quick. The old Flint Lake Road landfill closure, the Board of Health is currently has the construction of the landfill closure of the old landfill on Flint Road out to bid. The bids are due for this project on September 17th. We have information on those bids available on the town website. And just want to acknowledge the Conservation Office was successful in obtaining an $89,800 grant through the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs to conduct a feasibility assessment for potential repair or removal of the Lower Sibley Pond Dam. This dam was deemed a significant hazard and was structurally deficient by the Office of Dam Safety. So that will be a work in progress, while we figure out what we're gonna do with that dam.
Any questions for Andrew?
No.
Thank you, it was thorough, appreciated. Next item would be the select board member request for future agenda items. Anything off the top of your head, you can always email, no? Next meeting announcement, next regular select board meeting will be September 23rd, 2025, 6:30 PM at the Town Hall, Meeting Room 1. I will gladly entertain a motion to adjourn.